Microsoft, isn't it? Should have bought a Mac, buddy.
Uh,
Although I need to run a scan on mine. Mine's glitching. Microsoft, isn't it? Should have bought a Mac, buddy. I can hear my voice now.
I don't know. Hold on.
Although I need to run a scan on mine. Mine's glitching.
Mute that. Minimize. Got it. Mute. There we go. Minimize. All right. We are now live.
All right, we got it. Hey guys, what's up, Mr. Ortegas?
Not much. Just trying to get all this set up. Still running me through some stuff.
A lot of updates. It's been a while since we've been on.
Yeah.
Liable to have some changes to the programming. Sarah should be with us back soon. She was with us, but
Yeah, Annie's still trying to get on too. I don't know. That's not working on their end.
so lots going on. I guess did you have something you wanted to start with, or
No, I mean, we don't really have to, it's not scripted or anything like that. We've got few topics. So I want to kind of hit on a little bit and discuss and see what everybody's opinions are. And a lot of things going on going on in the community right now. And it's quite interesting. Of course, it's always interesting. So,
yeah, big event coming up. 1 week from today, April the 20th. I believe it's International Arm Wrestling Day as well.
yes,
But
420.
the Ingen Terzi East versus West 12, which quite possibly the biggest rematch of all time, really. I mean, who knows? That's arguable, I guess. But Devin Larrett and Levon Saganishvili going to hit it again. What was it, about a year and a half, almost 2 years ago that they
Ooh, Lord. Yeah, it's been a little bit.
pulled? Levon pretty much walked through Devin.
Yeah, pretty much crushed him there. If anybody's out there watching you, I don't see anybody watching yet, but if you're out there, I'll post the link in the YouTube chat. Feel free to come on in.
Yeah, some other good matches there lined up. They really have been some elite matches, right? Like,
Yeah.
I lost my page here. Here it is. Thank you. So yeah, Hermes Gasparini. Hermes is going up against Alishan Muratov. I don't know him. I'm sure but I'm looking forward to see Hermes pull anytime. He has a competitor that's worthy of Hermes. He must be a hell of a puller.
Yeah. Chris Hood in the chat. What's up, Chris?
Can you hear us?
Yeah, he can hear us. Oh, when are we going to see you at an event again? You're due. I know that baby's probably taking up a lot of your time there, but you're due for another event here soon. Justin and Art. Justin's in the chat. Art Justin.
Yeah, I can't hear Chris if he's in. Oh, he's just in the chat. I'm sorry.
They're in the YouTube chat. Yeah.
I'm tracking. I'm tracking. What's up, guys? Yeah, I think the one I'm probably most excited about besides Devin and Levon is Schoolboy. Schoolboy going up against just kind of seeing him getting going against some of these, big boys.
Yeah. Yeah. Chris asked, what were our thoughts on Levon and Devin? Man, I don't know. I don't want to say that I don't want to see the same thing happen again, but at the same token, I just don't know.
I'm right there with you. I'm totally rooting for Devin. I would love to see Devin, I think pull up would be considered an upset, and I think it would be huge bonus for the sport if Devin wins. In that, well, you put in the work, put in the work, put in the technique, you get the technique, you can pull off a miracle, you know. Um, we'll see. We'll see. I just don't know. We don't know how it's gonna go. Um, I feel like it's only been what, a year and a half, 2 years. Had,
Yeah.
had has there been able to make that much? Has Devin gained enough strength or whatever it is that he needs to be able to hang with Lamont in that time? And I just don't know.
Yeah. It's it's a crazy thing when you get to that level because then you just got to think, okay, how much stronger can a guy get at this point, right? Two two guys pretty much at the top of the game, you know, is there any more levels to that? Like that's the question, you know. So if Devin's able to pull it off, then we know that there's another level still,
Above that, yeah.
you know. But if he isn't, then I think we can just pretty much say that Levon is. I mean, obviously we got to see Hermes and Levon again. You know, after whatever has, see the outcome of this right here. But if Levon takes it, then we got to see Hermes and Levon again. You know,
Do you think Lavon's gonna come in stronger also?
I, you, I don't know. I mean, like I said, it's kind of hard to say. Like, where were they at then, or were they at the top already? You know, I don't know. We haven't seen much out of him since the Hermes match, so um, it's it's going to be interesting. I mean, first round will probably tell it. I mean, obviously, first round will probably tell it all. We'll know
Yeah.
pretty much from the get go. I don't know what's going on with Grandma Rose's phone there, but
Yeah, I just see Grandma
if you
Rose's,
zoom out a little bit more, maybe that's the banking account number we can get there.
Grandma Rose get hacked.
Yeah, Chris, I don't know why Jerry. I mean, the only thing I can think is, and this is not like any shade or anything like that, but it seems like kind of Jerry's kind of sparse for being able to or going to different events and stuff like that. Um, he came to that one East versus West, and it's like I don't know if it's due to his schedule or what, but maybe they just thought that wasn't the right match at the time, or it's not right yet. I don't know. That's a good question though. It'd be interesting to see whether or not Levon could get through that flop wrist sticky point of Jerry's though. He's going to take the hand for sure, and
Wait,
it's just whether or not he's going to be able to finish it to the pad.
sorry, Billy, what was the question again? He said
Chris asked why he wondered why Jerry Cataract and Levon never happened.
oh, No offense to Jerry, but I don't think that's a match.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, a lot of people were talking about it at one point, you know.
Yeah. Personally, I don't like that. Jerry's that level.
I'm supposed to have the girls in here, but I don't know. It's still not working with them. Supposed to have Sarah Ray and Miss Annie in here.
Yeah.
We need them in here for a little segment we're gonna hit here in a little while. Somebody's waiting on their iPhone. Let's see who this is. I might have to.
We're very excited. We want to make this the Super Bowl.
What's up, guys?
Whose iPhone is this?
It's Justin, man.
Hey, what's up, dude?
What's going on?
Justin, what are you up to?
I'm watching the UFC fight today.
Nice.
I came to Austin to see my best friend, and I saw you guys were streaming, so I thought I'd hop in and maybe talk a little bit about it or something. See how you guys are doing.
Awesome, man. Yeah, welcome.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Did you catch?
So here's one for you real quick. And I'm gonna side with Chris on this one. Is Chris Hood says he disagrees with you after seeing what Hermes did to Levon with his press. Once Hermes let his hand go and started with that side pressure and that press.
Yeah.
That's what at the end of the day, it's what sent Levon to the damn hospital.
Yeah, he's got a point. That's definitely a good point. I don't think he's in the ballpark.
Yeah.
I'm sure if since Devin has such good endurance, I mean, and he has even better endurance than Hermes, I'm sure if he's able to just hold off for a little longer, he'll tire Levin out.
But I mean, that's the thing with endurance, though, is that it's fine to have endurance most of the time, but you have to have something, right? And like with
100%.
Devin, yeah, Devin's always had something. He's always had either like his hand, his pronation. He's always been, and he'll last on, you know, as long as it takes. But when everything's taken away from you, that's kind of difficult for that endurance to take in. Now, I mean, I guess if you can, you know, lose everything and hold off somebody long enough to regain it back, but I don't know.
What about the weight thing? Do you think that Devin not coming in maybe a little heavier could have probably been a little detrimental to that? Because I know when he had faced Michael Todd at King of the Table with one of their matches, he came in at almost like 300 pounds and whatnot, and he was definitely stronger, but he was also saying something like he felt like he could gas out more. And I don't know if maybe he should definitely gain some more weight for the match, or if he just.
Well, there's definitely something to be said about that. You know, the bigger you are, the more oxygen the body needs to. I mean, look, that's what happened with guys like Levon in that match. And, you know, he started. Yeah. I mean, the dude's just massive, and when somebody puts that endurance to the test, all that muscle, all that mass requires a lot of oxygen to maintain. And you know, it's especially, you know, because those matches ended up being long in a sense of arm wrestling, right? You know, when Hermes was able to stop him, you know, those ended up being long matches. And,
when I watch a judo tournament, people are like, "What's this year?"
It's a live stream.
Yeah, I got somebody else in. Let's see who this iPhone is. Do me a favor, guys. If you're going to come in, and if you can change your, you know, your name there, that way we kind of see who's coming in. But
it's like a Zoom meeting. It's like a podcast. She can do whatever you
All right.
want.
Well, cool. We got a few people watching, not too many. We got a few people watching, but we'll go ahead and start into some. I know we started talking about that.
She gets to test herself against
The East versus West and all that kind of stuff, but we can start leading into some of the topics I kind of wanted to discuss and had for the show and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, let's see. All right. You know what? Only because it's fresh in my mind. Because I kind of saw it today. Is I don't know. I mean, I think we need to do better as a community or something like this because there's too many young new pullers out there that just revert to this, straight arm King's move. And I don't know if that's just because like we were talking about, that's because it was made popular by Devin and Michael, but let's be real. They're not Devin and Michael.
Yeah.
And I see so many of these young pullers like reverting into this dropping down straight arm, and they're practicing this. Like we see it all the time. It's like they're not getting stronger where they need to be, and they're practicing these open arm, straight arm moves as if that's what they need to do. And yeah, Jody, it's called lazy pulling. Yep, that I usually term it garbage, but I would agree with you. I'm of the sense that few people. I acknowledge that that's an arm wrestling move. As long as you're not dropping below the table according to the rules on the losing side, or and stuff like that, it is a legal move. But at the same token, I just say, like, for the newer pullers, get stronger in the places that you need to be. So you don't practice this. This is not a move that new pullers need to be focused on. Get focused on getting stronger, standing up, arms closer together, not opening up, which also leads to, injuries. We just saw a pretty rough injury from Dave Shea at Nationals. And same thing. He kind of dropped into that straight arm move. And, I've always said that a lot of these guys get away with this type of move because the guy on the other side of the table isn't strong enough to blow through their arm. And every now and then, and eventually you run into it, is these guys you find somebody that is strong enough that just blows, and then all of a sudden the arm just, that's the result.
From that is the experience of knowing that she can beat at the highest level. It doesn't get much.
If somebody's got a TV on, you mind either muting your phone or turning the TV down? We're getting a lot of background noise. There you go. Yeah, Jody's in the chat. He says, do people understand that the King's move is a structure issue? Like the structure is so messed up that they have to resort to that. I think I agree with that in a sense, because they feel that position gives them more strength and stuff like that. But and folks and Jody also said folks get the top roll and King's move confused. That's correct as well. But I see so many new guys. I mean, I see teams. I mean, I'm always all over social media. I see teams and stuff, and it seems like members. It's like a virus in a sense. One guy starts to do it, and then they all start to do it, and then before you know it, you see them doing it everywhere. They get on the table strong, and then all of a sudden they're just like this. And that's what they go to, and it's like they don't get stronger anywhere else. And then eventually they just find themselves like that. They don't work on nothing else.
And it goes beyond that. It's there's other dangerous positions too that they need to be taught and trained, and making sure that they're avoiding, turning their chest away. How many times do we see that? even the press, I'll say that the press starts going into that realm. If you're not ready to defend against what your opponent can do, that can be just as dangerous, in my opinion, as a King's move.
Yeah.
And there's some of the things that they teach, to most new pullers they do get, but it's one thing to teach it and to tell them, hey, don't get in arm break position, don't turn your chest away from your hand. And it's a whole nother thing when you have, a brand new guy versus a seasoned veteran, for one. For two,
Yeah.
when you have, when you get on the table and you're just in war and you don't even recognize or realize that you're doing it, you haven't really been coached up, and say, hey, dummy, look what you're doing. You're in bad form. Fix it, So really need to get good coaches out there, teaching good, safe form, focusing on, building the pronator, building the cup, and avoiding these dangerous positions. And that's one of the biggest things I think, not to pat our toot our own horn, but I think with the slight rule change we had with TAL on the amateur side of, automatically stopping a match and issuing a foul, I think that's a good thing for the sport overall. I would really like to see that rule, go farther than just us here in Texas.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, you know me, that's my thing. I love teaching new pullers and focusing on the safety and making sure that they're learning that. And this is another topic we haven't ever really gone on much, but it's something that we want to get talked about and out there and discussed. But it's about like your body preparation, making sure you're giving your body, their tendons, the bones, the muscles, the time they need to prepare to go on and take these super matches or whatnot. That's another thing. We have this big push to push all these, new pullers into super matches and try to get them into, some kind of exhibition or even rankings match. Give it time. Make sure your bones getting, strengthened. Your tendons are getting strengthened. And make sure that you're operating in safe form, good safe form. I think it's something that's all too often we overlooked with many people, and then too, a lot of times there's veteran pullers that do pull in not the best form, and people, new people, kids in particular, they'll see this and this guy's doing it, that guy's doing it. Well, I should be able to do it. Well, no,
Yeah.
you and I are not, whoever it is. That guy's been pulling for 15, 20 years or whatever, and he's hardened to it. His body's become,
Yeah.
able to to do that. So
There's
yeah.
definitely something to that. And I've been talking about it for a little while, how you and I, trying to get into the actual, like the science of it and as far as like the medical side. So, we all know that, as you are practicing and working out and doing these types of things, that it's just like, you're working out, you want to build muscle. The one way to build muscle is you have to tear it down and then you have to build it back up. And, I think so many things happen like that. Obviously the tendons work, bones, only, nobody's really had the ability to study these things, after a big tournament or, a week long, hard training session and stuff like that. How many micro fractures do we get in our bones? All over the place. It could be in our wrists, could be in our, it could be in our forearms, even though we don't see hardly any forearm breaks. They're very, very scarce, but the humerus as well. When you're applying those side pressure techniques to working on that, what does that do to the tendon and the ligaments, and how long does that stuff usually, just on an average, take to heal up to be ready to? I mean, everybody thinks they're ready, and everybody's got a different thing. Some people wait a month, some people wait 2 weeks, some people work out to the day before, you know, but at the end of the day, you know, these things, there's an average time on these things, right? If what's the average time does it take for new bone growth to happen? Stuff like that. So, and are you within that time frame?
Yeah.
Same thing with tendons and muscles and stuff like that.
I'm sure, yeah, you remember when, was it Robbie or Paul? One of them anyway, had told me about the situation about, hey, making sure that you're not pulling, week to week, back to back weekends or something super hard. You're just inviting, a issue there. And, cause yeah, what if you do have hairline fractures? I mean, hey, might as well let your body give it time to heal up and
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess in extreme case, you could even maybe go down and get an X-ray. Before you were to compete, I don't know how much that would show, but maybe it would show something you didn't know. I know we talked about getting Peter Angel,
Yeah.
and I know he was doing some research on it, and he was gonna come on the show and talk about it a little bit. So I'll follow up with him to see where he's at on that. But
Hey, there she is. You fixed it.
Yes, finally.
There you go.
I'm sorry. Sarah said she fixed hers. Hopefully she's on
coming.
it.
Yeah. Hopefully she'll get it. Yeah. She came in for a second and then I guess it went all weird on her.
Yeah, she messaged me from her, like our sons both have like messenger to each other. So
Yeah.
she messaged anyway.
ladies and gentlemen, the great Annie. I don't want to mess up your last name, Annie.
Malinichik.
Malinichik.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Super, super fun. Great representative, lady arm wrestler.
Oh, thanks.
So we were just talking about healing and stuff like that. So how long, like what's your personal prep time leading into like say a match or a tournament? How long do you like to take off beforehand?
You mean like for like after a tournament or from
No, like leading into one.
Oh,
So like, yeah.
Like, do you stop pulling, a week out, 10 days out?
So the way I've always done it is the Sunday before the tournament, I'll do like light pulling, some hitting at practice and some technical work, but I won't pull hard. And then I'll probably work out as normal up until maybe like Wednesday, and then do light workouts and blood flow Thursday, Friday, and then just get ready for.
So you're moving all week then.
Yeah.
You're just not pulling hard. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
So like for me, like I like I'm in that like the 7 to 10 day range, but I don't do like anything, like nothing, no blood flow, no nothing like that,
Really? You don't feel
But
like
I also I'm a weirdo. Like I'm like a John Brzezinski in the sense that I don't even warm up. I like to go up to the table cold.
Okay.
So a lot of guys will get over there and get warmed up with using bands and stuff like that. I don't do that at all. I've tried that and it ends up worse for me for some reason.
Oh, mine is a lot of like, my adrenaline will already start to go and it has to go somewhere. So I know that I have to move, and warming up kind of gets that adrenaline, kind of go somewhere, because I mean, the ladies don't pull, like we don't pull right away. So it's usually like 2 hours. Hey, Sarah, it's like 2-3 hours before we get going. So when they're like warm up, my adrenaline starts to go, and I'm like, okay, I got to do something. So I'll go
Gotcha.
up and move around. But I mean, like whenever ladies are in the tournaments, they'll say ladies are up, and then you immediately, like, there's no really warm up time. So we have maybe 10 minutes or less before we get up there. So the warming up part is more of my adrenaline is there, and I need to go and move and do something with it.
Yeah. I got you. I got that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jody says everybody's different. Yeah, that's right. I mean, we've got guys here in Texas that we talk to that they take off for like completely for like a month. They don't do anything, and then we have a couple guys on our team that they'll pull like 2 days before an event, and we're like, we look at them and we go, "Are you crazy?"
Yeah.
So.
When Sophie and I went to Worlds in 2013, and I remember, I don't know if you remember, her name was from Sweden, Emma Clark, but she pulled at work with the Swedish team instead of with the United States team. And she was telling Sophie and I that they lift heavy all week and they'll max out. I don't know if they do that now, but they did it then. They maxed out like all week up until
Wow.
Up until their tournament day. And we were like, what? That's insane. Don't you get tired? She was like, no. We're like, oh God. Which made sense because the Swedish team, the ladies, are insane. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it works.
Maybe there's something to it. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
We're just that far behind the bar there.
Yeah.
Or we just like our rest. We all like to rest.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so that's one of the things we started off talking about was, and that kind of led into the rest times was like the dangerous positions and stuff like that, and how it seems like a lot of new pullers, and even like, I didn't want to like even the ladies. I have a hard time watching a lot of the newer lady pullers because I'm one of these guys, right? I will see an arm break video and I will record it and I will watch it over and over and over again. And I will slow it down frame by frame because I want to see what position the person's hand was in at the moment of break, what their body was doing in that split second, and stuff like that. And I see a lot of lady pullers. And it's not just, the men do this too. Some of the newer guys, they like to fight in their fingers.
Yeah.
Right. So they'll both go for a top roll and they'll both hold on in their fingertips and they start to apply. And about the only way you can go there, because there's really no real estate for the top roll anymore because you're in your fingers. So the only pressure you can soak is the side pressure.
Yes.
And the shoulders kind of turn out and the chest turns away and and I don't know what it is. It's I see it just seems to be a common thing.
Yeah.
And it freaks me out and I told Dustin this the other day, when it comes to arm breaks, and I don't mean this in any bad way or anything like that. This is just the straight up facts of the sport and everything like that.
Yeah.
If a guy breaks his arm, I've got 10 guys to replace him. When women break their arm, we'll never replace them again.
Right.
And that's horrible for the sport.
Yeah.
It's just, it's like Victoria. We'll never replace her.
Yeah.
And it'll take, X amount of time for us to, to fill that void. And then it's different than the men. So it's like, I get really, really concerned with the women like that, because it's like, man, we can't stand to keep losing them like that.
Right. It's like 200-1, right? Like,
yeah,
that's basically the ratio, we're working on that, and it's not for lack of trying. It's just, it's been, it has been difficult to get ladies to come arm wrestle. you know, for sure.
I think that's been a thing, and I think Texas is doing, from what I see, a great job with trying to get the ladies involved. I mean, you guys have so many women participating in your state, and that's so great. And that's because you guys are really making an effort to do that. And I, with the arm break and the positions, to me, it seems, so when I first started, my two coaches, Jeff Hale and Justin Joyce, they made sure that I knew how to arm wrestle first before I tried to be powerful. So
Yeah.
And like I feel like now, just from the ladies who are pulling now and how they pull, and like the emphasis on like social media and everything, it's like you have to be powerful first. You have to be strong first before you know how to arm wrestle. Oh, well, they're really strong, so they're going to be good. Well, no, not necessarily. I mean, it comes and goes, but like you said, like if you're in this, Billy was saying, in this position in their fingers, and they know, oh, well, I'm strong enough, I can pull her over. Well, I mean, no, you don't have control of the match because your hand is gone. If you have control of the match and you're, technically sound and your hand is controlled, then yes, you can move. But like it's so to pin someone is so much more rushed than trying to control the match first. Oh, I have you, and I can move. To me, that's how it. To me, from watching a lot of men and some of the men, to me, that's how it seems, because they get in all these crazy positions, and you're like, well, what are you doing? I mean, it's just I was very, very lucky to have the coaches that I have, because I've never injured myself during a tournament or arm wrestling or anything like that, because I know how to arm wrestle.
Yes.
So,
yeah. No, you're spot on with that. And we have quite a few guys on our team that are big, strong guys. We got and stuff like that. And I always make it a point to tell these guys that you're more strong than you are an arm wrestler at this point. So you have to be very careful, because it's easy to feel good in that strength that you're used to having, and then it doesn't the same way.
Right.
And so we have a few on our team, and they're big, strong guys. I mean, they're putting up, we got guys that are putting up 500 on the bench easy, that 800-pound deadlifts and stuff, and you get them on the table, and it's like, I know you're strong, but you have to be careful, because it's that strength. And we've seen it all different types of places. People that are strong come in, then they're like, hey, I can arm wrestle. And then all of a sudden, we're getting blown biceps, or, broken arms, or, tendons, and all this other kind of stuff. And Jody said in the chat earlier, it's, people have to remember that it's a marathon, not a race.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, I say it all the time.
Yeah, that's very true.
Back on that topic of women arm wrestling and recruitment, do you have any advice for those coaches or those guys that are out there looking to try to bring in more ladies to their teams? What do you tell those guys? How do you?
Gosh. Any
thoughts on that? Or have you had where you've had any success on anything with it?
Well, with my experience, so for some that don't know, I live in Oklahoma, and there's probably, I think there's right now, just in Oklahoma, there's 2 of us who are actively competing, and then there's probably 3 women total. Yeah, 3 women total who are from Oklahoma. And from when I first started in around 2011, we have probably had 5 or 6 ladies. They'll come to practice for maybe 3 or 4 times, maybe a couple of months, and then they'll quit. And I'm not exactly sure. Well, I think it's actually deeper than what can men do, or what, not men, but the coaches can do to bring women in. I think there's such a stereotype that if women work out, or if women are trying to get stronger, that they're going to be so bulky, and it's not attractive, or I don't want to get bulky. I don't know how many times I've heard women say that when they're talking about working out or whatever. Like, that takes, it's, I've worked out for years, and I'm not bulky, not big. And so
Yeah.
I think the stereotype, it's not a good thing to be physically strong. It's not a good thing for, I mean, it is to us because we're athletes, but like the general population of women don't come into a sport thinking they want to get stronger and better. It's like it's frowned upon almost. So it's more than just, I think, what can they do to promote the sport. It's just that women aren't interested in a power sport. Like, I think it's just a super small community, because if you look at the women who come into the sport, a lot of them were already like power lifters. They're already in the sport, and over into this sport. And rarely you get, women just, oh, I just wanted to try it one day. I mean, it's just super difficult because it's not appealing. And I don't know why. I think they just see it as a bar sport. I think automatically, because if we're not in an arm wrestling community and you meet someone outside, they're like, oh, that's a thing. Oh, where do you do that? Oh, you do that in tournaments? Oh, I thought it was just kind of and then you're like, oh yeah, it's a thing. We're real. We're athletes. And it's just like, oh. Ugh. So I think it's more than just
side too.
That.
From the side too.
Yeah.
Talk to some people, like, I didn't even realize it was a thing. Like, yeah, it's been a thing for a while. And so
I think there's with the signal there.
Yeah, there might be a little lag there. You hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the same thing with the guys. One of the things I'm not doing hardly any here, but just because of the traveling, but the fitness expos.
Yeah.
So many people come up to the table, oh wow, yeah, we've seen this maybe on TV or, like obviously over top, we didn't even know this was a thing. You get them on the table, you show them a few things, you let them have a little fun. And, but still, it seems like even from the recruitment side on the men's side, there's no residual to that. Even in the strength sports, it's like you have to have a friend that's in it, or you have to get interested on your own. And then, cause like, I can't even remember the last time, we do practices that been using, and so that we pulled any of our from these places.
Yeah.
It's been, oh, well, so-and-so, or I saw this and I decided to come out. I looked for it,
Right.
So.
And like, I stumbled because Jeff Hale, like Jeff and I went to high school together, and he was already in it for 4 or 5 years. And the way he found it was, I think he was looking for something when he was in college, and he saw there was some kind of advertisement for it. then he went and he thought it was awesome. And then he looked up arm wrestling and found Jim Coyle. And so like he did that on his own. And then I came just because Jeff, he was like, you should try this. So, I mean, I wouldn't have. So like, it's just kind of, it's interesting like that. And a lot of guys have also come to practice, and women have this too. I'm not just saying for men, but they'll have like their ego is like right here. And if they don't come and smash everybody on the first day, then they don't come back. And so like I've seen guys come to practice, and our guys like baby them to show them like, oh yeah, you know, you're good, you're strong, whatever, and come back. But really all of them could just smash this guy with ease. And so not that they would out of a fight or being rude, but it's just like everybody's so fragile. Everybody has to be, you have to be so careful like all the time, it seems like.
Yeah. We had one
just
guy
from
come
my
out.
perspective. Why?
Yeah. No, we had one guy come out. It's been a few months back. And he came in, and I'm like, you ever arm wrestled before? Oh, yeah. The side, you know, I beat everybody. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we get on the table, a few things, stuff like that. And then he realizes very quickly that he's in over his head.
Yeah.
And like he literally just told me, well, okay, I'm going to leave now. There's no point in me doing this. And I was like, all right.
It, man. Okay.
And he left. I mean, he was dead serious. Was like, like wow. Okay.
Wow. Okay. I think people are surprised with how technical the sport actually is. I think because I mean I know I certainly was, and even though I've been in it for such a long time, like there's still things at practice that Jeff is teaching me now, and still things that Jeff is learning about. And you'd think somebody being in the sport for that long, you're like, oh, well, they know everything. No, like everything is so. And I love this analogy that Jeff always used. Like it's a chess game. Like you have to be so methodical, but the way you have to do it is it's that fast. You have to feel what they're doing, and you have to move so quickly, which is so interesting. I don't think people realize like how actually difficult arm wrestling is, and they think it's just brute strength when it's not. So when they realize that, they're just like, oh yeah, I can't do that.
I agree. I think there's definitely a huge technical gap that people are mostly unaware of. But I do think that for me, I was very strong. I think most people that come into the sport most of them are generally very strong people. They did very well on the cafeteria table, on the bar, etc., against their brothers and their friends, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
For me, I was one of those guys, and when I went to my first practice, I was shocked at how strong everybody was in those very specific strengths. So I think for a lot of guys, they think that they're the strongest around, and then they go into practice and they're coddled by experienced pullers because they're trying to bring them in. We're not hitting them with a bunch of, crazy top rolling and hitting them with all our fancy moves, etc. We're just letting them work. Yeah. And they're on the other side of the table, and they're thinking to themselves, whoa, what is going on here? This is not what I'm used to.
Yeah.
And as I've heard said previously in the conversation before I jumped in, I've seen several people, some of them even wanting to bet money in the blind that, hey, I'm the strongest guy ever. I'll bet 500. And I'm kind of thinking on the side, somebody take this guy's money, but people usually invite them in because arm wrestlers and arm wrestling clubs are generally friendly, community-driven type things, friendly gatherings. They say, no, put your money in your pocket and come in. They get into one practice, they get humbled, and then you never see them again.
Yeah.
Right. Sure.
Or they get the arm wrestling pain in their arms and it hurts and they don't come back.
Yeah.
That's one thing that we always like. It's like the first time we've heard you.
I've just been listening. Sorry, I'm late coming in. Technical difficulties.
That's one of the things we always tell people is like, look, chill out. This is your first practice. You want to go all out. I mean, chill out. It's cool. Go take a break, get some water, come back up, do it. Because this is like we're talking marathon. If you work into this, things will be cool. Like the pain's gonna come. It won't be over. But if you just go balls to the wall, you're gonna hurt.
Yeah.
You're gonna hurt.
Sure.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I tell people most of the practices, their first practices, and even, when they come back, I just do more watching today than actually pulling. Just watch. Watch them.
Right.
You could do so much by just watching, some of the guys that kind of have an idea what's going on. But anyway, I was trying to say earlier, and I've muted myself, that is a huge cat, Sarah. Oh my God.
She'll be 16 in September. She's my baby.
16 pounds or?
No, 16 years old.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've got one somewhere around here that's in that same boat.
yeah. Anyway, sorry, I had to get that in there.
Hey, I want to tell you guys one quick story that's hilarious. And I think Billy, you've already heard this one. My
All
first practice was it was a day before Halloween in 2019. And I was 39 years old. And my first practice, I think I jumped on, I found a Facebook group that was probably long defunct, but somebody was watching it, and it was Caleb Ricks. So I posted on there, and I posted like a video. I posted a video of me lifting on there, and like, oh, I'm serious, like, hey man, serious. Let me get into a practice, like, let me get to the brotherhood and all this stuff. And Caleb was like, hey, where are you? I said, I'm over here. He said, okay, let me put you in touch with Chancey. So puts me in touch with Chancey. Chancey walks me into my first practice. It's at Willie Schlobaum's dad's house. So they were kind of like in between practice, between like Steve's practice and Zane's practice at that point. So I go into my first practice, and before I even pull, like, James sizes me up. He was like, oh yeah, you're definitely a hooker. I'm like, all right, cool. And then Tucker comes over. And by the way, Tucker didn't know my name until like I've been to 2 years of practice. And he finally knew my name. So Tucker, he'd be like, oh man, I love you, man. What's your name again? I'm like, yeah, I'll just tell him anything. So he wouldn't remember it anyways. So my first practice, he shakes my hand, and he's like, hold on, put your hand up. And I put my hand up, and he's like, oh no. He said, just turn around and go home right now. Turn around, go home. Don't come back. And I said, are you for real? He said, yes, your hand is tiny. You will never succeed. And he did it like in a kind of a joking way, you know what I mean? But we talk about that to this day. But there's a lot of guys that would have turned around and never came back. There's a lot of guys that step on the table their first time, and they think that it's just going to be a walk in the park. They're going to be, they're going to be king ding-a-ling or whatever, and then they get humbled. And they never ever come back, and it's hilarious. And then you get guys that can't deal with it, like you said, the toothache pain. And when they say, "Oh man, when's this going to go away?" and you're like, "I don't know." But some people say never, but most people say around 12 months, and then they don't show up to the next practice. So yeah, you definitely have to pay your dues. You definitely have to pay your dues and take your lumps, and you have to deal with your deficiencies. You have to deal with your tiny hand.
Well, I mean, there are ways to work around that.
Yeah.
You've got success from wrestling.
Yeah,
Did
I
you
had
hear
to
me?
figure. I broke up, but yeah, I had to figure it out. That's for sure. It took me a little while, but I had to figure it out.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I still haven't learned how to use mine yet. So
Telling lies over there.
I'm still learning. Learning.
Telling lies over there.
Well, let's move on to the topic where we can kind of cruise through this. So one of the things I wanted to talk is the Texas rankings. So one we had decided to do was we've had Texas rankings going for a while, and they're super match based. Provides a little bit of a than we're used to seeing. And for long, from basically the beginning, there was no activity rule. It was, as long as you accepted a match, you held your rank, and if nobody challenged you, you just kept the rank. And that was fine for a little while, but now we've kind of got into the realm of we're seeing a lot of people that aren't being challenged also aren't arm wrestling. They're not hitting any tournaments, and with the amount of tournaments have in Texas and two around Texas, it seems odd to me, lack some kind of family issue or something like active. So one of the things we decided to do was start to basically purge people that had not attended tournaments in the last 2 years, considering we've been running for 40. You can hit a tournament somewhere, and if you haven't been challenged or you're not an active arm wrestler, then the ranking should be for wrestlers. One of the things I told a bunch of the rankings that were added. I don't see, and it cleaned it up pretty good. And it kind of landscape of who's out there, who does, and where there people were challenging them and stuff like that, and it was like you couldn't get a hold of them; they never responded. Then we had to go through that whole thing where fit your rank or whatever. And now it's we can get down, we can keep crunching it down a little bit more, and active arm wrestlers will be the ones that are on the rankings. So read a few comments here. That was one of the things. I think it's going to be a good thing. So it's definitely going to change them up and then kind of give people an idea where people are and then where they need to go if they want to challenge up and stuff like that. So any thoughts on that, Sarah?
I love that we did it. I think it narrows it down to where we can keep track of everything better. And then if they want to get back on there, maybe we'll see some more challenges.
Yeah.
I think we need to get the women's side of it done as well. We haven't had a chance to touch base on that. But definitely go through the women, see who's active, see who's non-active. Hopefully we can get some more challenge matches going.
Yeah, I think, once we tackle that women's, I think it's going to be about 3 or 4 people long. But we do have a few new pullers, a couple there out of the Austin group, and then we have a couple out of our group here in San Antonio that will be added. So, but there's quite a handful on there and this goes back into the whole thing about we can't afford to lose women. We have to be more vigilant. We unfortunately had an arm break. Well, we had arm breaks at the last ladies event and the one before that. And the one before that, we lost 2 ladies out of one arm break.
Puller.
Yeah, and a male puller. Yeah,
and
her husband.
The kids.
Yeah. So we lost the whole family out of basically that. Then the last event, we unfortunately had another one and we lost her, and we try to do our best as promoters. And like Dustin was saying earlier, we enhanced that rule about dangerous positions in a sense that, like for amateurs, if they go into a dangerous position, we stop the match. We don't issue warnings for them. And, we've had a few amateur pullers get upset with us, but like I've told them, look, you can leave right now. I'll give you your money back. I'd rather you leave. I'll give you your money. I don't need it that much for you to get hurt. So, I think, I can't say for certain, but I think in my mind for certain we've prevented arm breaks that would have happened had we not had that rule in place. Just statistically speaking, we throw a lot of events, and there's a lot of matches that go down. And statistically, if we weren't stopping these matches, I think we'd have more injuries than we would.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know.
I'm confident in that also, Billy. I couldn't agree more.
And I'm not gonna lie, I see the arm breaks, and I every time it happens, that quit. I'm done. I'm not getting back on the table every single time. And then one of you kick me in the ass and go get back up there. So, I mean, those things traumatize me. I don't even like talking about them because, yeah, like my arms start hurting.
It's tough to pull hard after seeing like 2 or 3 arm breaks in a row at a tournament. I tell you what.
It is.
But sometimes it's unavoidable though. I mean, I may be wrong. I thought about it, but the way that I see it is that some arm breaks are inevitable. Even if you're in a good position, you might apply more torque than you ever applied to your bone before because you're in a tournament and you're excited. You know, that can happen.
Yes.
As far as arm break positions go, I know a bit about them. I pull almost exclusively in an arm break position. I think I've just gotten where I am because I'm lucky and I had built up enough rotational density, rotational stress resistance in my humerus through sports application when I was young. I don't want to get in the weeds, but I've read studies about, throwers and stuff like that and cross-sectional density persisting in humeruses, et cetera. But my take is that when you get into an arm break position, it means that you're applying more force than you can with your muscle. You're relying on your muscle, and then you're relying on your joint and your frame, and then you're applying more torque than you've ever applied with your muscle. So, of course, the odds of a break will go up in that case. But you don't necessarily, in my eyes, need to be in an arm break position to break your arm. You could just be excited, be strong enough, and then apply more force because you're excited on a go in a tournament, and you gave 10% more.
Yeah. I mean, I would agree with you. But I'll counter with that is that I think even sometimes the pressure, like, and it's unavoidable in the sense that we can't see it to prevent it. It's not an obvious turn my chest away, turn my head away, full side pressure, hand outside your shoulder. It's the movement in the right spot that you look good, everything looks fine, and then you apply that slight pressure like you're talking about at the wrong angle. And one of the things I've been talking about lately is leverage. So there have been some arm breaks that I've watched and I've seen where the guy is basically palm up. It looks and appears like he's in his bicep, right? But the problem is the other guy is all out in the end of his hand, right? So he's not hooked. These guys that are breaking their arms like that just kind of look like they're on their bicep, they're full hand extensions. And then you see a slight internal rotation, with that leverage so far out in the hand that it goes.
Yeah, I'm really familiar with that pressure because that's my sticky spot. That's my sticky spot off of the pad, and that's my sticky spot and a hit off of the go also. And it is a lot of torque. It's a lot of rotational torque.
It is.
But when you're fighting off the pad, and it seems like they're fighting off the pad, they actually have an inserted shoulder, and there's a lot of chopping pressure happening. It doesn't look like chopping pressure because they're palm up above a pad. But really, there's an inserted shoulder and chopping pressure along with like leveraging off their elbow, off the pad, off their bicep, and that's a recipe for a snap if your bone's not up to the task.
Yeah, it's just like like the last one we saw at Winter Blast, the guy that broke his arm, that kind of that same position, just kind of out here. Guy in the end of his if you slow it down, like which I told Annie earlier, this is what I do. I slow it down frame by frame, and you can see that guy start to try to apply that rotation, and it goes. But it's unavoidable to the eye, to the referee. It's unpreventable.
Yeah, I would agree. It's a very difficult one to catch, right in the
Yes.
moment. Really, it is. I mean, yeah, I mean, it happens fast, and it's a difficult one to catch. And a lot of people will get mad at you if you called him for fighting in that position. You know, so yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I was telling him earlier, I like to study these, and I don't know if that makes me weird or not, but
Does.
you know,
It's very
I
weird.
also, but here's the thing too, and this is the other side of it, is that I watch these to desensitize myself to them.
Sure.
So that
Well, and
when,
more importantly, you study them, right? Because I mean, as promoter of the sport, you know,
Right.
we have to be safety conscious. You know, we have to be, you know, looking out for and new people come to the sport. And
Yeah.
making sure that we're doing all.
well, you have to be able to respond too.
Yeah, sure.
You know, one of the things, and you know, I may catch flack for this, but one of the things that the big things that I saw with Victoria's was, one, the lack of calling the position. I personally think that if that ref would have warned her to tell her to turn her shoulder back in, that we'd still have an arm wrestler and we'd still have Levi. You know, and on the flip side of that, once it happened, the first thing that I saw was the down ref grab her broken arm and hold it to the table. And then the other ref was grabbing her other arm. And she's on the edge of a stage on the outside. If she were to pass out, the down ref's got a hold of her broken arm. You know,
Yeah.
nobody came in behind her. I mean, these things can happen. And I'm thinking, you know, and this is the problem too, is that in my mind, it's got to happen immediately. And Dustin knows you've got to get behind them. You know, that's the one thing that we have to try to prevent, is them losing consciousness, falling, and then injuring themselves even further. And then on the side of the stage and stuff like that, you know, and I caught a little flack because I was being a little outspoken on that. And, you know, oh, well, people got, I'm not talking about like 5, 6, 7 seconds later, you know, it's like, you got to get there now. And, I think that's another aspect to it. And especially why, you know, and Sarah, I've gotten on to Sarah quite a bit. She has a hard time watching them, but me and her had many conversations, and I'm like, you can't check out. You've got to stay in there. You're the promoter. You're there.
I run out the door on the.
You can't go running out the door.
I ran out the door, and I was like, I can't. I took off running. So I'm getting better about it, but
you are getting better about it. I thought you would have left Winter Blast. I thought, especially not only the first one after Victoria's, I thought you were gone.
I tried. Elizabeth literally kicked me in the ass and was like, "Get back to the table right now," because I was like, "I'm done. I'm not pulling." She's like, "Yeah, you are." And I got up there and won my class. So huge thanks to her for that.
It's an unfortunate part of the sport. It is. The fortunate thing is it really doesn't happen that often. You know, gosh, when's the last time that we had one of our events?
Well, knock on wood. You know, I don't want to jinx us, but
Yeah,
like,
don't even put it out there.
Well, I'm just saying. So
don't speak it.
It's been a while, but it does. There is something that says, okay, we don't need to just be thinking about our post. You know, I mean, that's part of it, yes. Well, what about, you know, the preparation and making sure that, you know, hey, these guys are, you know, they're ready for a tournament, they're ready for a super match, whatever it is that they're going into, you know. And I guess, how do you know? Well,
you don't know. There's no way to. I mean, it would be a promoter's nightmare to try to come through each individual that walked in. How many practices have you been to? How many times have you pulled? You know, you kind of have to. That has to be something that you kind of have to let go. You come in. I assume if we can catch them, some people tell us, "Hey, it's my first event." And I think we do a pretty good job. And, you know, hey, go over there and talk to those guys. You know, you're a new puller, go over there, let them give you, you know, I know you're entering, but let them give them the crash course. And, you know, knock on wood so far.
Yeah, Travis, you know, agent has a really good little interview he does before events on that while I'm thinking about it. But yeah, I mean, just, I think getting new people with coaches in their areas that can teach them, or guys in their area that can teach them, okay, this is what you need to do to pull safe, you know, this is what you
Yeah.
do to start preparing, this is what, you know, I think that's an important part. And I think that's something that we've done a pretty good job here in the last few years of really trying to get these folks from other areas, you know, connected
Yeah.
with pros in their area, or at least semi-pros, whatever you want to call them.
All right. Well,
What's
let's
up?
get
Enough
into
about
some.
arm breaks.
Yeah, let's not talk about that anymore. I think we've hit on that.
All right. Yeah. Fun stuff.
Let's talk about what everybody, not everybody, what everybody's opinion is on this. I mean, look, this is old news, really. The WAF versus IFA versus East versus West.
Oh
Let's
boy.
jump down the rabbit hole.
Let's go down. I mean, everybody's going down it. We might as well be in it too. So you want me to go first? You want me to go first?
You brought it up.
Okay.
I'll go first.
Okay. Go ahead.
Oh, there's a lag. You can go first. I got yours now. You can go first.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Well, I don't like the idea that because my opinion entertains stuff on the WAF side that I'm pro ban. Okay. I don't like that idea. I am not against banning people. But I am for an organization setting whatever standards, whether we like it or not, they see fit. And when you can claim corruption and all that other kind of stuff, and I'm sure there is, you know. But at the same token, if I look at it as this, if TAL wanted to impose a standard, whether it was popular or unpopular, that as an organization, we should have the right to impose that. Now, granted, this is quite a big, you know, policy that WAF has decided to go for, but I'm not for bans, but if that's what WAF wants to do, then that's what WAF wants to do. On the East versus West side, I think completely that Ingen has his hands tied. I think completely, and to the point where it would seem as if he is all for it, and he might be. I haven't talked to him personally, so I'm not going to make any assumptions or allegations there. But I don't think, given what we know so far and how he has to operate over there, I don't think he has a choice. It's operate this way or don't operate at all.
Yeah.
Which is a rough spot, you know, especially considering I think we as Americans like to parade around and say, oh, well, I'll just go do something else. Well, okay, maybe you can. That is not always the same situation in other places. I don't think if anybody said, I don't think anybody would give up arm wrestling if that was their choice. You know, it's like either do it this way or don't do it at all. And if by not doing it, you are basically out of the arm wrestling game, I don't think any of these promoters would choose to leave. I think they would find a way, you know, to work within it. But as far as whether or not I'm for it and all this other kind of stuff, I will go ahead and say that I am for opportunity in the sense that I have thrown we have thrown, TAL has thrown East versus West qualifiers to try to provide an opportunity to Texas pullers to pull on that platform, which is, I don't think anybody can argue this, the biggest platform in arm wrestling right now.
Yep, ever since WAL went away.
Yeah. Sarah has taken full advantage of that. Elizabeth has also taken full advantage of that. Both have been to the main stage, you know, done their trips and and you know, if that's what I got, if that's my thing, is I have to be able to provide an opportunity for my Texas pullers to that stage, is to make a few people mad because they might consider me to be pro ban because it's East versus West, then unfortunately, I think you're just going to have to be mad at me.
And I don't think it's that just because you support it means that you are pro ban. You are promoting opportunity for each arm wrestler. And I mean, each arm wrestler has the choice to choose where they want to go, just like Elizabeth and I choose, you know, to go that path. I'm going to finals, she and I both, at the end of this month to try to win another opportunity there.
Yeah.
You know, they treat you like athletes. You get your trip paid for, you get to go see the country. Like I like the idea of it. And I wouldn't have been able to do that had TAL not provided that opportunity.
Yeah.
But
I mean, you could have hit it at another event, you know, somebody else was providing the opportunity, but you know, why not do it here in the state in which you reside?
yeah, exactly. I think each person just has the athletes are going to have to decide. There's so much arm wrestling going on. You know, you can support IFA, you can support WAF, you can support Knuckles Up, whatever's going on. I think each athlete, each individual person is going to go with the opportunity that's presented to them.
Yeah.
That we're a different country. We fall under different standards than, say, Turkish. You know, they have different laws over there. That I've personally had talks with Ingen and asked these questions, and he flat out told me it's not me doing it. I have to follow what this organization says, or I can't throw these events. So he's doing what he has to do in his country.
Yeah. And there's some of that now. That the big thing is and you know, I don't know. I think there might have been a little bit of miscommunication there, but that I'll just reserve that for my opinion on that deal, because with Chance's challenge series and stuff like that, I don't know what direct link that has. I know it's using the East versus West name. It's obviously has a direct link to the policies and standard that Ingen has to impose through his events. So, you know, therefore, that's what it is. And like you just said, I think, look how many they've got. I'd have to look, but don't they have like 15 challenge matches right now, at least?
But see, they were comparing that to IFA Nationals, right? And I think the verbiage was said that, and I think Chance was just being honest with people that, like, hey, if you go to that, it could potentially, you know, just giving a heads up. I don't know the story on that. I know that me personally, I pulled IFA Nationals. I won IFA Nationals, and I still took my trip to WAF and pulled on the main stage. I've never went to IFA Worlds, and that's the only time that the ban comes into place. So you can compete on a national level, whether it's WAF Nationals or IFA Nationals. You can do both nationals. But once you step on that world stage at IFA now or at IFA World, that is when they'll ban you. So I went through that personally. I was not banned from going to East versus West.
And that was the same thing that we got from Simon when at your, you know, because we went through this with the last ladies event.
Yeah.
You were able to, Simon was able to allow us to hold that event as a national qualifier to WAF Worlds. And we went through we had those conversations. And, you know, those are the conversations that we had, was that on a national level, you're pretty much, you're good to go.
It's not going to affect you in any way on a national level.
So,
but how many are really holds nowadays? Like, I think we've touched on this conversation. Like, I think many have went past the Worlds. You know, they're looking at other opportunities, other big things that are coming up. So they want to try those endeavors, and I don't see anything wrong with it.
Yeah.
What
were
I
you saying,
think some
Todd?
people, what I think some people have the problem with is if you interview on someone's podcast or if you have a challenge match on an event under a different promotion, you know, banning for that stuff, or if you have the wrong referee ref your match and now you're banned. Those are some of the things that, you know, I really can't get on board with saying, you know, that's just not okay to me, honestly.
That's not necessarily what's happening. I think it's the contracted athletes that Ingen has actually contracted going out and doing these things. They are within a contract. They have an agreement with Ingen. They've both signed this. They both made a choice to sign this. They both need to hold that contract accountable. Now, whether contracts are good or bad for the sport, I'm not going to sit here and debate that part of it. But if they have a contract and they're enforcing it, okay, after that contract is up, that athlete's free to do whatever they want, right? But maybe that contract and says, you know, hey, you can't do this. You have to be on my channel only. That's my assumption of it.
Yeah, I can see if they are bound to a contract, then, you know, yeah, I mean, I get that. If it's just, but if it's not from a contractual obligation, then, you
Sure.
know, like, whew,
No, I
this is
think,
a
I mean, I
little
think most
much
of
now.
us can agree. Yeah, I think most of us can agree. The referee thing, yeah, I'm with you, Todd. I don't, I mean, being ref by an IFA referee disqualifies you or bans you, then yeah, I don't, you know,
It's kind of petty
At
at
least
that
it
one,
was
at that
certified
point.
ref. I agree with that. As long as it was a certified ref, or you know, I don't. That part is crazy to me.
Yeah.
what do you think, Annie?
We froze.
Oh
Sandy.
man. What?
Right? You don't have to answer if you don't want to.
I mean, I'm not really. I don't really follow a lot of that. I do know, just from my own experience, that the competition, what I've heard, is definitely different at WAF than it is at IFA. Because not that the level of ladies going, that's not what I mean. I mean that there's more competition at a WAF Worlds than there is at IFA. From what I heard last year, in one of the ladies' classes, there was like three women in the class. They flew all the way to France to pull 3 ladies, which is amazing. It's great. It's Worlds, but like again, when I went to WAF, there were 14 women in my class, and right and left class, and there were that many, at least 14 to 16 in each class, going from the smallest woman to those, you know, beasts. There were 14 of us in each class, so like the it's just so different that if they split it, and now it, to me IFA, I feel like the athletes are cheating because there's not as many people competing in the classes as you would want at a world level, because it's a world level. It's not like you go and okay, I don't want to sound bad, but like a local tournament at a world, you want to feel that you're meeting all of these amazing athletes, and you go and there's 3. That's just so disheartening
People
for
that
me.
you get pull in the States.
What?
Yeah, weren't some of those people like didn't, I mean, essentially it was almost like nationals all over again for some of those classes.
Yeah, they pulled the same people that they pulled here in the States, like in a few classes. So I think a few were disappointed in that, and that's kind of what popped off the WAF Nationals at the All Ladies event, having that to get them to Worlds, because it's like they went all the way to France just to pull the same people they could pull in the States. You know, maybe one girl or 2 girls were different, but
Yeah,
you know, it makes it difficult it being split like that.
It does for sure. And so yeah, to me, it just feels like they're. Not fair. But I mean, I don't know how to make it fair or what the deal is or why it's even split or who's got a bar up their ass or what. I don't know. But it's utterly ridiculous. That's my.
Yeah.
I think people are looking for a future stake in the sport. People are the business people are looking at this sport like it might grow and it might make some money. So they're trying to get ahead of that contracts. And you can expect that in any industry. I mean, any sales guy on the call, sales gal on the call, you'll be signed to a non-compete. You have to sign contracts. If you're an actor or an actress or anything, you have to sign contracts to do business. So it's not like out of the blue. This is business as usual. Yeah. The thing is though, is that how much money are we talking about right now that we need to be talking about contracts? So are contracts warranted at this point? How much money are people making at this point? Overseas, they might be getting stipends to support their lives. I mean, over here, we're not making money off of arm wrestling. Nobody on this call is making money off of arm wrestling. People are losing money off of arm wrestling. We're doing it because we love it.
I'm actually making a lot of money.
Yeah, boy.
Bowling in the
That's sarcasm, like to the fullest extent here.
I know it is. I know that this is like. I know that you're bleeding for your passion, Billy. I know that you are.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to be. The returns are much greater just getting a job. So, I mean,
yes.
and I know you already have one. So this is a passion. I get it. And then when you're in that position, you're thinking, contracts for me? Like, you're trying to hit me with contracts? What do I get for that?
Yeah.
I get the right to pull in a federation that people regard as a world championship. I mean, this sounds like other hobbies I've been in, like sporting clays, where you sink a bunch of money to get it. I mean, and then the only way you get money out of that is if you teach people how to shoot clays. Like,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? It's like I get I get contracts are part of the deal, but what's the deal though? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay, so say they are trying to, contracts are a deal, but if they're trying to make money, how does that help the sport grow in that sense? How does that help the sport?
If they can show letting
the athlete. You're cutting out, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry, and it's I cut you off because I thought you saw, but I was cutting out. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I can't hear you.
But you're right. You said we were going to say ad revenue.
Yeah, me. I was going to say yes. The way that ad revenue works is that you can prove up to somebody that wants to run ads on your event. You can say, this is how many viewers we had, and this is their demographic. And if you want to sell RC Cola, this is the spot, and then that's how the sport grows. It grows through ad revenue, in my opinion. I've never been on the promotional side, but just common sense kind of tells me that this is how these things kind of roll,
Yeah, sure. I mean, look, if we're talking about the topic that was talked about the other day with Levon being told he couldn't go on Paul Italia's podcast, if he's in a contract with Ingen and Ingen says you can not do any podcast but my podcast, that totally makes sense.
Has anybody come out and said that, or has he said that, or is it just well, I can't do it and nobody's disclosing why?
Well, no, allegedly that's what Paul was like. Paul says that's what was told to him, was that Ingen was the one that told him he could not do his podcast. Now, if that's just because, then that's one thing. If it's because he was under contract to say only doing, I don't know. Contracts, we don't know what's in them, so you can't really say. But I don't know. My thing is just one of the, it's not good. Banning athletes is not good. I can agree with that, but that's a platform that exists. That, as Sarah was saying, pullers are going to. I mean, look at the one that's coming to the East versus West at 14 in Orlando. Devin.
Competition there.
Yeah, Devin. Even Travis. Craig Touye, Corey West. Like, all these guys are wrong. You're going to tell all these guys they're wrong for wanting to be on that platform? I don't know.
I don't think they're wrong for wanting to be on it. I think it's just I don't know. Arm wrestling, to me, there's always some kind of drama that's got to go on, and this is at the forefront right now. Like, everybody, this isn't the first time it's been discussed, though. Like, this blew up a few years ago, and now it's like every couple of years this whole IFA WAF thing blows up.
Yeah.
No, I think the younger pullers that have had really good success and have achieved things are on an achievement high as anybody would, and the people and the pullers that have been in the game, the tenured pullers that have been in the game for a long time, are looking at this and saying, how do I make money off of all these years of effort that I put into this sport?
Sure.
I think that's what's going on. And I think that the tenured pullers, the ones that have a chance at making money, are always going to go with the opportunity that makes the most money. And whatever that is, they're going to go with. And that's the free market.
Sure.
I think I told Billy this the other day. I said, and this is nothing against IFA or anybody, so let me go ahead and put that out there. But I'm going to talk about me as an athlete myself. I had the opportunity to where I could go to like Dayton, Ohio and compete at IFA Nationals, potentially go to Greece, right? And I was like, hey, I kind of want to do that. Well, then the East versus West opportunity come up, and I went to go experience Dubai. And then it like come into play that trip was paid for, right? If I was to go to Worlds, that trip's not paid for. I'd have to pay for it with my own money. So that's kind of where I made the decision as an athlete to go, what do I want? What's best for me? What works best? And I'm like, well, I'm gonna go to East versus West qualifier. I'm gonna go to finals, and hopefully I win another trip out there. Maybe I get to see Turkey this time.
And I would have taken the same opportunity as you had. Maybe somebody else wouldn't have, depending on their circumstances. But I definitely would have taken that opportunity. I would have done exactly what you did.
And it doesn't mean I don't support IFA. Like 100% support IFA and what they're doing and the worlds. But for me as an individual, what I'm going to decide if there is a ban in place and I need to follow those rules, well, I'm going with the trip that's paid for.
Yeah.
Makes sense to me.
Well, any other opinions on that?
I guess it'd be nice if it was all one big kumbaya and we could all come together and the actual world champion would be the actual world champion, no questions asked, basically in all the classes. But like Matt was saying there, the good thing is it's sort of open, right? People have options, and they can basically make the decision on what they want to do and support who they want to support. They don't want to support somebody because they're banning or whatever. They don't have to, and they can support the other guy.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: do you feel like the overseas pullers are ahead of us and more advanced?
In what way again? In more fans?
Like they're more advanced, like in skill level. Like we go over there and they're just more advanced at arm wrestling than the United States.
I think currently, in general, yes. I think a lot of the countries are a lot of
You
them.
think it could be because they're united and we're over here arguing with each other about, well, you can't do this, or you know what I mean? There's like so much separated, and we have this over here and this over here, that if we got together united as the United States, maybe we could advance to the level they're at.
I don't
I
know.
think that overseas it is taken a little more serious and not just more as a hobby like we have here in the States. And also, some countries have, they pay their athletes to represent their team. So for some, it's a job. It's how they earn their income. There's not as many pullers stateside that make their primary income off of arm wrestling in comparison.
Sure. Yeah, it's true.
I think one flip side to that also too is the age in which, because the arm wrestling is more of a mainstream sport overseas, children get into it just like our children over here get into t-ball. They started I think that's the biggest thing. This has always been my opinion. That's the one thing that will take generations to get to, and we'll never grow the sport like we wanted to until we start getting kids into it I'm talking about on a mass level, and they grow up in just like anything else, football, baseball.
I agree. I think it's like I think there's no farm system for arm wrestling, right?
Yeah.
I'm not trying to open up the lid on a can of worms here, but I will just say it in passing that some of these Eastern European bloc countries that produce a lot of extremely strong arm wrestlers, I will just go ahead and say it. I think that they have, even though there's a smaller genetic pool that they're drawing from, they have a gifted genetic pool to draw from for these very specific types of strengths. I think it's just my opinion. It's you can shoot all kinds of holes in it. It's just my opinion. And also, I think that they figured that out, and they focus on things like weightlifting and arm wrestling, and not things like volleyball and high jump. You know what I'm saying?
No, I think you're right.
Genetics play a role in every sport, right? I mean, some of the, like you say, people are going to try to argue that and whatever, but it's your taller people typically tend to be better basketball players, typically tend to be better volleyball players. It's easier for them to do the things they need to do to be successful in those sports, right? So, but yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting thought.
All right. Well, speaking of, if you want to call it drama, you can call it drama.
Oh Lord, what'd you do, Billy?
I didn't do anything. Anything. So there's been, and I'm speaking to Annie and Sarah on this one. So there's been some ladies drama over this round robin.
Oh boy.
And drama enough. There you go. Drama enough that people are creating fake accounts to message you, Sarah, because you apparently are supposed to be supporting and uplifting, and you're not doing that. And there's a lot surrounding this, and I just know a little bit, just a very small excerpt from like just regular Facebook posts, but my comment the other day was like,
wait, for those of us who don't know almost anything about this, what happened?
So Larray Jenkins, he's been throwing these invitationals and round robins. He's got their big money events. He put together a ladies round robin, and it started off with all the names: Michelle Dugan, Sarah Bachman, Alexandria, all these ladies. And then, over the course of time, ladies dropped out and spots had to be filled. And this is an invitational, meaning it's invite only. So Larray and his team, whoever he's got on his team, has to go through and they've got to comb through ladies and select which ones. Annie was on that list. Sarah's on that list. Elizabeth was on that list. And select these ladies to invite. And as more ladies continue to fall off, then, you start to work your way down the ladder naturally because you have your top picks and then you have to, it's just the way it is. It's not an insult to anybody, but, and there were some people that felt they deserved a spot, and they really haven't. They've been on the blimp on the radar for just a moment, and it's really putting the promoter under a lot of pressure and all this kind of stuff. And it's causing a little bit of a divide because there's something to be said, and I don't like with my team, it's like she's just not going to bullshit you. Just like I don't bullshit my team members. Like, I'm not going to sit here and play you up as like, oh yeah, you're really good. I really think you could win or something like that. If I don't think you can win, I'm going to tell you can't win. Like, and it's not me being mean. It's like, if I don't think you're good enough for that spot yet, then I'm going to just tell you. And I'm your teammate. I love you. I want you to do great. But I live in reality. It's like, you're not there yet. And it's okay. So there's been a lot of back and forth with who gets an invite, who doesn't get an invite. And, I'll just go ahead and I'll bite the bullet on this one because I was alongside Sarah through this ladies' journey with these all ladies events. And, Dustin, you were there as well. And, kind of feeling her hurt through all this and trying to do the best that she could, provide everything that she could. And I'll be honest, I watched a podcast the other night with a bunch of ladies that they were just talking, and it's like, oh, well, what if we did this? Well, what if we did that? And it's like, could you at least acknowledge the fact that kind of stuff's already been done before? And let's have a conversation of why it didn't work, and not like run off and say, hey, oh, well, what would it take to get ladies to an event? Oh, well, right now there's 3,400, but maybe 5. Well, why not 6? Sarah did 6,000 2 years in a row, and we had a decline in ladies events. And it's like, this is not new ideas, and, just this, it had this weird undertone like, oh, well, maybe we should just do one of our own. Okay. I mean, you could do that, but why do you think it would be better? Why do you think that all these other promoters, and it could be, oh, they weren't women promoters. Well, we had one, we had one that tried it. And, it got to the point where it was like, the effort wasn't worth the time.
And that doesn't take away from the ladies that did show up and support it, but I
love them all. I wish they would show up to. I love it. It's like we got 2 girls out of Austin right now that have traveled to every one of our events so far. And it's awesome. I love it. So I'm not talking bad about the women in any sense of it. I mean, I want more women. I wish I could have women's classes as big as my men's classes. But
we made the classes, and then it's like they took a nosedive. Like, we expanded the classes, and now we can't fill the classes anymore.
Yeah, and that was the thing too. It was like, oh well, the weight classes are really weird, and it was like, for some promoters, and I think this is the lack of knowledge behind it, right? Is that, yes, you have some promoters that are only going to offer limited weight classes because they just kind of feel that the women's aren't going to show up anyway. So it's like, hey, whatever. We'll do a 155 and 155 plus. We'll do a right hand only. We see that still, we did that in the beginning. When TAL first started, we only had 2 women's classes.
140 and then 141 plus.
Yeah, I mean, we did it because that was just the standard. That was it. That was just what everybody did. And then the second we had women showing up to the event, we started talking about expanding the weight classes. And we did. And since that time, since the day we did it, I don't think we've filled one class.
Nope.
Now we've always, for every event that we've been through, we've been forced to combine classes.
And it's not that you haven't offered them. I mean, you put out there, if you have 3 or 4 in the same weight class, great, we'll run it. If there's no one else, there except one other person that's above that weight class, well, yeah, it's got to get combined. But, it takes what, 4 to have class?
I mean,
Well,
you
you can
two
run
and
it
have
with
a
2.
class.
Yeah. I don't know. I got extremely defensive on Sarah's behalf and a little bit irritated just kind of listening to some of the ladies that knew that have already been through this, and it was like, oh, it's just like these new ideas, like, oh, let's just throw a tournament and it's just going to work out. And it's like, talk to some people that have tried it already,
Hey
but
guys,
then
I
we
kinda
get back.
took-
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
we get back to the invite thing. That makes it tough on a promoter to try to have to pick who gets an invite.
Yeah.
And that's an extremely difficult decision, especially when you're dealing with women, because there's an undertone in today's society where we don't want to be hard on women in a sense, and I'm not talking about being mean, obviously. I'm just the real decision is I'm not going to pick you because I'm going to pick this other person, and I don't know. It had this real sense of entitlement to it that was really weird to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. You guys tell me if I'm wrong. Or don't tell me I'm wrong.
No, I'm not. No, you're not.
You're right.
You're
Tell 'em
no,
something,
you're
guys.
not wrong. So, when gauging that event for the round robin, there is a specific level of arm wrestling that promoter is looking for, right? And it's not to take away from anybody that is arm wrestling, that is pushing forward and trying to hit that level. But every one of us sitting here knows that when we were new to the sport, we sucked. We had to get better. Like we didn't know shit and we had to learn. And then we get here and we're like, hey, we're doing good. But then we show up over here and it's like, all right, I got my ass kicked over here, back to the drawing board. Like it's still that way with me going to different events. So this specific promoter was looking for elite level athletes. You're talking to compete with Sarah Backman. I mean, I would say that's about as elite of a woman as you can get. You've got Jocelyn that's in there. You've got Jolene Anderson that's in there. Like these are big names. Sarah Wilson was once in there. So these are very experienced women. That when you go to gauge women to go up against those, me from a promoter standpoint, as we just talked about, we have to look at the safety factor. We have safety rules for amateurs, and how we classify amateurs is very, very, I mean, Billy, I don't have it in front of me, but what is it? You got to win 3 or be in the sport so long.
Yeah, I mean, it's a general guideline, but it's not hard. It's not concrete because there's context to that, right?
There's context, yeah.
Real quick, there's a thing in sporting clays called no nobility. So I was like an E, no, not an E. I was like a D class shooter, and they put me a no nobility, a AA shooter. So I'm sure as promoters and as refs and all that stuff, you can watch somebody on the table and you're like, okay, that's not a man, right?
Yeah.
You can kind of make some determinations, right? Yeah.
Yes.
And that's separate from their record. Yeah.
Yes, it can be. Yes.
But just looking at it from that perspective, and in my mindset as a promoter, I'm going, is it safe? Is it this? Just looking at it from every possible angle. So when I'm asked my opinion, or I'm asked because I do know the majority of the ladies, maybe not everybody, but I'm asked a specific opinion and I stated it's the truth. I'm not going to, as you said, bullshit anyone. I'm going to tell you the truth. And sometimes that people don't like that. So I don't know. I got that awkward message. I posted it on social media. Y'all can go look at it, but it was something to the effect of, I thought you built women up, not tore them down. And that was never the context behind it. I was trying to meet the promoters' wishes, right? What they had in mind for their elite level event, their national level, what they're trying to build is their goal. Just like I would want somebody to do for me if I was looking for an athlete to have a super match, right? I don't want somebody that's going to come in here to pull Billy that's brand new, right? If Billy wanted a super match, that's not what I'm looking for. So it was just it was just a lot of bullshit.
Sarah, was that an anonymous text, or was that? Do you have a name to that, or?
No, it was a fake account. So I just screenshot it and I posted what they said, but it was from a fake account. No friends, no nothing. It was just created. And it was just created to me. So
It
I have
means
no
nothing.
idea.
It means nothing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like it was, I don't take shit like that to heart, but like, don't tell me I'm not supporting women just because I give my honest feedback, looking out for women to make sure they're not going up against competition that could potentially hurt them, right? Or stating my opinion about being new, or I don't know. I don't know what the whole reason behind it was. It was frustrating.
There's some people out there that will just do things like that just for the sake of doing it. If you know that you're right in something, then you just move forward, and that's all there is to it, in my opinion.
I almost dropped my phone. My phone's about to die.
Mine already did.
Any thoughts, Annie?
Yes. So my thought is, okay, so on Sarah's behalf, I understand that exactly what or how much, but for the general public who is not a promoter, who has tournaments, the effort that goes behind tournament, extremely for Sarah. What for? I only know because or this whole to get for
Annie.
to have it very
Annie, you're cutting in and out really bad.
Oh, that's not just me hearing that? Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure.
I was like, I don't want to say anything because like I think I'm cutting out.
Sorry, Annie.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Gotta start over.
Yeah, you're cutting out like bad.
Can you hear me? Are we good?
That's better.
A little bit, yeah.
Are we good? Little bit. Damn it.
I'll try to piece it together.
Just write it out. Write it on pieces of paper and hold it up. Like, just sorry.
Are we good?
Nope, you're breaking up again.
Son of a bitch. Okay.
It's bad.
Write it out in the group chat. We'll read it for you.
Jesus.
Try again.
Maybe I need to move.
Try it again.
All right. Okay. I'm gonna move.
Go sit next to your router.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're on Wi-Fi, definitely.
Okay, there. How's that? Is that better?
So far, yeah.
That's better?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I was saying, can you guys still hear me pretty good?
Yeah, for the first time, it's awesome.
Oh, okay, great. Hello. Okay,
Hey.
So hi. So I was saying that on Sarah's behalf and how she, excuse my whatever's background, she the amount of effort that she took to put on these ladies tournaments, and I only know because she would call me and tell me, all the things that she had done and who she had spoken to and all these polls that she had asked the ladies of classes and awards and money and all of this stuff. And then to have it. So nonchalantly said, well, we should have a tournament, or we should do this, or we should put on this. And it's just kind of like, how did the women forget that this happened? To me, I just couldn't understand why that was even, like, nobody mentioned, oh, we had three all ladies tournaments. Oh yeah. And so to me, that was just unbelievable. It was just ridiculous and totally disrespectful to Sarah and how hard she worked to put on a really great tournament exclusively just for women. That has something that has never been done. And just mind blowing to me. It's like they slapped her in the face. That's what I thought, to be honest.
I don't know. Grandma Rose is putting stuff in the Zoom chat here. Let's see.
Mm-hmm.
She says maybe because they were not involved. Well, that's obviously involvement is.
If I remember correctly, women on the podcast, two of them for sure knew about the all ladies tournament.
Three of them, sure. And one of them had been to all of them.
Right.
so
I don't know.
Look, and then I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Look, we realized there were a couple of them that have been new to the sport, and they were not around when that. But I'm like you. It was the way that it was being talked about, as if one, this was a new idea, and two, is if like, oh well, we'll just do that, and it'll be better. We'll offer the weight classes that women want.
Right.
We did that.
Yes.
We'll offer the payouts that women want. We did that.
Yes.
We'll offer custom awards. We did that. I mean,
Not
it's like
just at the all ladies event, we did it for Texas State as well. So they had 2 events that offered $500 first place payouts.
Yeah, they got the I mean, women have the opportunity through Texas State for $500 payouts as well. So in Texas alone, Texas was giving out quite a bit of money to ladies classes. And the thing about it is like one of the comments they said, well, we'll just find the promoter that offers the weight classes that we like, and then we'll just support. Like, that's another topic.
Yeah.
Like up in the Northeast, they have that lightweight class.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody asked why they have that weight. You think the promoter just threw it out there just because? It's because they have ladies that participate in that weight class. That's why they have it.
Right.
If you don't have it, this whole build it, they will come thing.
Yeah.
I found out long ago it's not a thing.
No,
okay. Yeah. And I agree. I think it's a real conundrum because I think it's a harder sell, obviously, than it is to get men to tournaments. Men,
yes,
men, they have a lot of insecurities. For all of them, if they can just pin a guy on the table one time, you know what I mean? And they're right in that tournament. Women, it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different. I think that,
sure.
I think it's not, if you build it, they will come. I think it's if you sell it right, they may come. You know what I mean? Like they might come if you sell it right. So like, I think you have to look at your target market, and I'm definitely no expert. I'm just thinking off the fly here. Like you'd be looking for women athletes that did not go all the way in their sport, but they're athletes and they still want to compete. So they have something like arm wrestling. They can do that. You know what I mean? They can do it on weekends. It's like bowling almost, but like more athletic and more competitive, like more, you know what I mean? More right? So like you have that kind of like target market.
Annie said the same thing at the beginning. I think it might have been before you came on, but it's like the residual of keeping women in the sport that try for the first time. If they have an athletic background, it's a higher probability that they'll stick around. If they're just the office girl looking, thinking this is a fun thing I'll try, not odds are you're not going to ever see him again.
Absolutely. And I think that's like a, common sense sales thing. And,
Sure.
and for the office girl, it's like, it's not so much for me. Maybe, maybe you don't present the image of arm wrestling to her like she's an athlete, a former college athlete or something like that, that's in her late 20s or 30s now. You sell it as something like, hey, girl, it's time to throw it all down. You know what I mean? Like, show who you show who you are. Prove yourself up. You know what I mean? Like, fuck that dude that I just got out of the relationship. I'm sorry to cuss, but screw that dude that I just got out of the relationship that I just got out of, or whatever it is. And that's how you got to sell that person. You can't sell them on like, hey, I'm gonna teach you how to dunk a basketball. You got to teach them on like, hey, look, express yourself through physicality on the table. Come over here to a practice. Doesn't that feel good? That type of a thing. And
Yeah.
you're not just gonna like offer classes and people are just gonna like line up. You can't just open up a lemonade stand and people are just gonna line up. You gotta like tell them why they need that lemonade. Hot outside, man. That type of thing.
Yeah. And yeah, I totally acknowledge that there's obviously an aspect that through all of our long nights and conversations that we haven't explored, and we missed the mark somewhere. Totally acknowledge that. But I mean, we had to have gotten pretty close. I mean, I don't know what other aspects we could have offered. We've talked about it, and even Dustin, we've done it on a local level. Like one of our first events, it was like, oh well, the kids, and like luckily we had a venue, we had a little outside area, had a little jump house out there. Sarah's made that asked that same question. If it's childcare, can we maybe figure out a way? I mean, look.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah, I mean, we could totally hire. If we find a venue that has the accessibility or something like that, we could totally hire a babysitter for 3 or 4 hours to watch the kids run around in a room. There are possibilities out there.
I think it's a different thing though, and one of the things that we haven't really touched on yet is that it's not that trying to get these ladies to come from around the countries. It's that they don't exist, right? Like, how many ladies
in the grand scheme of things? Yes.
Yeah.
In the United States, I mean, we know in Texas it's how many are on the rankings? Active pullers.
I mean, if I'm looking at active pullers right now, I could probably count on one hand or on both hands. You got Sarah Elizabeth, We've got now I'm drawing blanks.
And say just take that,
Yeah.
Sky Renee.
Working
Yeah,
really
Sky, the 2 girls out of Austin, yeah, I mean,
but no, I get Dustin's point. It's like imagine you're meeting, you're pitching something in a conference room and 3 people are there. It's
Sure.
like, okay.
Yeah.
nationwide, look at the whole United States. Obviously, there's some pockets that are going to be a little more concentrated, but how many women arm wrestlers are there in the United States that at least pull, say, once a year?
Yeah.
What's that total number, and if those are the numbers that we're, going after to try to bring into our events and our, our tournaments, I don't know.
Well,
Well, I have a question for everybody.
It's discussed about it and talked about it on a very, 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 when there's just way less than what we think is out there, is actually out there.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think I am wrong.
I don't
Well,
think
it
you're wrong
seems to
either.
me is that
I think it's a very difficult sell. I think it's
Oh, yeah,
I think it's going to
numbers.
take a huge amount of persuasive effort to get women over to the sport. I mean, it takes enough persuasive effort to get men over to the sport. Is the truth. I mean, it's going to take a Herculean effort to get women over to the sport. But you got to define your paths for that, and then execute them and hope for the best, I think. And I say this as somebody that's arranging his landscaping rock in his front yard right now. that has no responsibility with it. Just out here with a headlamp, just talking. So there's that.
Well, my thing is I constantly I'm watching, I'm looking, I'm searching, and there seems to be no rhyme or reason, right? There's talk about payouts, there's talk about trophies and stuff like that, and then I'll watch a big group of girls go to a tournament that the trophies aren't anything spectacular, or there is no money payouts, but like I said, there's no shade or anything like that. But like Bob Brown's event, Gabby was there. There was a good amount of girls show up just to see. So is it? I mean, you can't say cash payouts and all this other kind of stuff, because then I could just spend money to bring in these ladies. Look at what Arizona State's doing, and I'm seeing all the girls respond talking about how they want to go to Arizona State. That's great for them. But I mean, if that's what you want, don't tell us it's about money payouts and all this other kind of stuff and free entries, which is another thing that's another thing. The free entry thing crawls up my spine. But if that's what you want, tell us that. We'll spend that money on that, and we'll get Gabby here. We'll get these, we'll fly them in. If that's what you want to do, is spend that time with those type of women.
And that may get pullers that are already in the game that are entrenched. It won't pull any new pullers. Well, and maybe it will. You said that some people wanted to go see, Gabby, etc. But were they new pullers?
Yeah.
Oh. And like,
yeah, they are new pullers, like within the last 6 months. Yeah.
Okay.
Something that I've heard is that, like, okay, so having an elite lady come to a tournament, I've heard that, and I know this happened to Sarah, and I think it happened to another, fairly top puller in the United States. They show up to a tournament, and then newer women don't want to pull because they're there. Like, well,
that's happened in Texas.
Yes,
I heard that. Not just with elite pullers.
Yes, and I heard it happen with. I didn't hear it from that puller, so I'm not going to say who it was, but I heard from someone that she showed up to a tournament, and there were 5 ladies that were supposed to pull, but she showed up, and they all backed out, and they were like, "We're not pulling her." I'm like, "That's such bull. Sorry, that's such BS." Because
I side too.
How does that? That's not even fair. So you're punishing this puller who's worked so hard to get to the level that she's at, and then you don't want to pull. You don't want to. I mean, I don't understand that. I don't understand not going to tournaments and not pulling. And I don't understand demanding certain things when you don't show up. And so many women are like, I've gone to a tournament and there's no women. Well, yeah. Like, and then why are all the women, I don't understand this part either, complaining about weight classes and awards and all this stuff? I don't get it. Like, promoters aren't going to spend money and lose money, because they lose money if they have to buy these awards. I mean, I went to a tournament. I know I'm going to say his name wrong. Cody Van Weed. Sorry, Cody, but he put on a really great tournament around the Oklahoma City area, and he had really nice glasses for the women's classes, and only 2 of us showed up. So he spent money, and I'm sure every promoter this has happened. He spent money on these glasses for 3 places for these 2 classes of women, right and left. And he was like, "Oh, well, there's just the 2 of you." He's like, "Here's your awards, and then here's all of these awards that we." So I mean, it's not this. You guys are just being dicks about it, and they're like, "Oh, well, no, we're not gonna have." It costs money to do these things, and then if women don't show, which a lot don't, then it's just, it's not like you said, you build that they will come. That's not how it's going to work. So I've never understood, well, do this and we'll show up. No, like you want that, show up. I'm here. I want to be in this weight class.
Yeah.
I've never And maybe that's old school thinking or whatever, or, you know, women deserve this and this. Yes, we do, but we're not going to get it unless we show up and show them we're going to be here for what you're providing for us.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't get it.
I've got
And be consistent, not just one event.
100 pounds of medals in storage right now, and most of them come from my women's classes and my master's classes.
Yeah.
Because I buy medals, I make sure that I have a medal for every slot in every class that we offer. So even though Texas Arm Wrestling League is doing a to be determined up to 4 classes, like we'll still build 4 classes. So I buy awards for 4 classes, no matter what. And just because obviously I'd rather buy it than not have it if I need it. So, but then again, like I said,
hey, Billy, give them all to me, man. I'm 43 years old now, man. I'm almost 44. Just give them all to me, dude. I'm basically I would have won those master's classes anyways, man. Come on. Just give them to me.
You know. I was like, I always said I wouldn't enter the masters. I entered one last time and then the guy left.
Well, I want to enter masters so bad, but I just know what Linda's going to say.
You just have to. My thing would be you're probably like me. My suggestion would be look and see who's in it, and if some other look. I'm to the point now where I was hardcore that I was not going to enter a master's class because I thought 40 was too young. I tried to get rid of it against and I got put kind of. I was going to go 50 over, right?
I think that's more likely, honestly. Yeah.
But look, to each their own. That's my opinion. That's for me. The class is there, but I'm to the point now where if I see a Michael Thompson from South Texas come in and enter the Masters, I think I'm going to start entering in it now.
Why not?
Just depends on who's in it. If I see a Dustin Laughlin in there,
Sarah knows when to put me in.
I just throw him in all the classes and, we just run them. I do want to ask a question now that we have everybody here, and I'd like to ask it directly towards Annie and then Billy.
Okay, wait. Does this have to do with the invitational? Because I wanted to say something about that real quick.
Yeah, no, you finish that. It does, but finish what you were saying on it.
Oh, okay. So the invitational. So my understanding, so if you look at the first original 12 that they had picked for each class, it was the best ladies pullers from United States and Canada. That's who they wanted for this invitational. It's not a tournament. They're inviting who they feel is the best, which I agree. They had the top at least 8 pullers of the states in there. And like you said, I understand that some drop out and you need to fill them with who's next in line. And I think that I'm sure and I understand feelings were hurt because they felt that they should be on the list. I know for a fact that when I first when Sarah told me about this event, she was like, do you want to do this? And I was, thank you, Sarah. And I was like, yes, I want to do this. And she was like, okay, let him know. So I was like, okay, I will. I said, so I let him know. And I didn't hear from him for 2 days. And I was like, damn it. And so balloons.
What'd you do?
What the hell was that? Oh my God. Oh my God.
You must have made some kind of hand gesture or something. I don't know.
I guess.
Let's just say congratulations. See if it works.
Yay, I got on there. Okay, but I didn't. Yeah. What is that? Oh my God.
Thumbs up.
That's so weird. Okay. Okay.
Now I'm gonna be playing this, y'all. Y'all don't look at me. I want to see.
Squirrel.
Yeah.
Okay, this is cool, y'all. Okay. I wonder what's gonna happen if I do the middle finger.
Don't do it.
Oh,
Do the heart. The heart do anything?
does it blur it?
No.
Oh, look at that.
Oh shoot!
Oh, that's wild. Oh, let me turn the headlamp on. Sorry.
Oh my god! Oh, that's so weird.
No,
Okay.
Still there.
Oh, there's the balloons. I don't know what I did.
Oh my god.
Squirrel.
Squirrel. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead, Eddie. Sorry.
So
I love it.
I didn't hear from him for like 2 days, and I was disappointed. I was like, damn it, I didn't make it, whatever. So I do understand being disappointed in not getting an invite to something that you feel that you should have. I definitely understand that. I get that 100%. But I mean, it's not a personal jab or thinking that this person doesn't deserve, or that whoever didn't get chosen doesn't deserve a spot. It's that they're just not at that level yet. And I am very thankful that I got a spot. And I'm not going to lie, I am super surprised I got a spot. Very surprised I got one.
She's being humble. I'm gonna have to get her in a minute. She's being humble. Everybody knows who Annie is.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
Anyway, whatever. Okay, thank you. But it's not, it doesn't come from a hateful place. And I feel that some that weren't chosen take it as they suck, or they're not working hard enough, or they're not desired. They don't belong. And that's not what it is. An invitational is an invitational for that exact reason. It's because you want a certain level of women to be there, and maybe a lot of women didn't make that level. And so, in golf, my husband did tons of golf events, and a lot of them in long drive were invitationals, and they only invited 30 men from around the world to compete at these invitationals. So it's not because they want that event to be at a certain level, at this level. And so it's just like Sarah said. So I think that, and I'm trying to be careful because I don't want to bash anybody, but not everybody is at this level, and that's okay. And even if you
while you're on this, Danny, define this level. What does this level mean? So what that promoter was looking for, this level, describe this level, what it means.
Okay, so this level to me, in our weight class, Sarah, our level, I think one of the best women in our class is Lee Aaron.
100%.
Lee Aaron is elite in the United States. I'm not saying she's not elite in other countries. I'm just, because this is a North American competition. She's
competed internationally, hasn't she?
Yeah, she has.
Full walk overseas.
Yeah, I'm not saying she's not great over there. She's amazing over there. But I'm talking about the women's level here in the States. She's elite.
Oh yeah.
So that's the level that they want, right there, her in our weight class.
And that's the level she's expecting to pull too.
Yes. So they want elite up here with her to compete, all 12. Now I know that not all 12, including myself, are at her level. And I'm not trying to poo-poo on anyone, but that's the level that they want for our tournament. In the heavier class, 155 and up, elite is Sarah Bachman. So that's
like up here.
That's the level they want. And that doesn't mean that if you're not at that level, you should just F off and never compete ever again. No, that means that you're just not there yet. And that's
understand where you
okay.
fall.
And that's really okay. There are a lot of women, and I think I had this discussion the last tournament I had, and I know that Sarah Latona and I have had this conversation as well. There are different levels of commitment in our sport for men and women. There are those who love it, okay, my teammate, Brooke Joyce, if she was 100% in arm wrestling, she's a beast. She's a beast.
The hand.
Oh my God, her hand is, oh my God. She's big giant hand. But arm wrestling is not her first priority. Her first priority are her children and her husband and her businesses. That's her first. She has 5 kids. She's a busy woman. So arm wrestling is not her first, but she still works out. She still competes sometimes, and that's totally fine. So other women, arm wrestling is their number one. Their number one plus their job.
And sleep and breathe it.
Yes, and maybe their partner. When I first started, that's exactly what I did. And that's it, probably why I traveled so much. I was at the level that I was. And so things change, and that's totally okay. So, I mean, there's all kinds of us. So I think it's a little ridiculous to think that everyone is at Lee Aaron and Sarah Bachman level for an invitational. It's not a tournament.
Yeah.
It's not a tournament.
I think there's other factors in that, and what Lorraine is considering. We're talking about Lorraine, right?
Yes.
I think there's Lorraine invited me. He DM'd me. Lorraine invited me to an invitational, and he DM'd me for that, and I looked at it, and I was busy, and I was like, let me get back at this. And then when I got back at it, he deleted his message, and I assumed it was because he found a more marketable or more suitable opponent to pull in this invitational, and I didn't question it. It's fine. I don't care. I didn't pursue it even. I never tried to call him up. I think this is the first time I've actually even talked about it. He did extend an offer to me, and I saw it in a DM. I think that Lorraine probably is looking for, I mean, at least I can't speak for the women's side, but on the men's side, I think he's looking for personalities that will conflict on a table, as well as the best pullers that he can persuade to come out there. He can persuade to fly out there to pull. I don't think he's getting all the best pullers. And I'm not saying that because I didn't go out there. I think I'd probably round out the bottom half of that. But I think he's just doing his best to get people out there from the men's perspective.
Right.
And I think that I do believe that talent and ability is the primary constituent in his decision-making process. And I think secondary to that is who can make noise and will be a marketable match. And third, like who will even come? Who can I even plug that spot with? Because people have drop out at the last minute. So it's a multifaceted thing. And I don't know Lorraine. I never even spoke to him, and I won't give him any flack. I won't give him any flack for anything. But he did extend me an offer and retract it before I could even respond to it. But I get it. He's trying to do something, and that's fine.
Yeah. Real quick, guys, we got a super chat, $10 super chat from Lewis Horvath. It says, after being part of the Super 64, it's funny how many people had been hurt. If you make the cut, you make the cut. Work hard, prove yourself.
That's it.
And this kind of goes back into what the one comment on the thread that I made was like, tell me you don't want another ladies event without telling me, like, something so cool and so great as this. If you don't get it in this time, try to get in the next time and just support the shit out of it. Like, why are we sitting here going about, oh, well, I didn't get picked and I didn't get that. And people are like hurt over this. And it's like, This is a great thing no matter what. Like, don't do this. Be happy. Continue. You're going to continue to grow as an arm wrestler if you're serious about it. And
Right.
then the next one will come around and you'll be like, hey, maybe they were, you know, here's the thing. You know what he's going to remember next time? Are all these complaints.
Well,
When
you
he
go
goes
back
to,
to the hypocritical side of it. You know, you pick apart and you go, all right, let's support those that are supporting women. Right? Let's pick a promoter and we'll show up to that one. Well, this promoter is actually doing something that's never been done with women. We've never had this. This is the first time. So there's going to be some stuff to work out, but like, go ahead and support it. Let's figure out the kinks. Let's make it better. Just like with the first all ladies event, like there was some kinks we had to work out. There were some things we needed to do better, but we learn as we go. So to immediately cause like a shit show around it, that's where I was disappointed because I'd been in that position as this promoter, like trying to do something for the first time and having everyone just shit on it. So I would say shit on it, but just critique the hell out of you when it's, you know, you got to set a what's the right word? You got to lay the foundation, set the groundwork for it, and then improve as you go.
Right.
yeah. Yeah. What were you going to get to, Sarah? Said you had a question for me and Annie?
Oh, well,
Yeah.
I asked Annie already, like her level, what her definition of the level of pullers that Lorray is looking for. So, Billy, you as a promoter, if you're going to do the same thing Lorray is doing, and you say elite, you want the women to be elite, or you want the top level women, what does that standard look like for you?
I think Annie nailed it. Like, I don't think there's any other way to explain it.
Okay.
You know,
And
when you're talking about the North American pool of women, yeah, I mean, you've got the top and then you work down from there. You know, it's like, and look, it's not that we don't know that somebody that's been in the sport 6 months can be good.
Right.
But, you know, there's so many other factors that fall into this. Time, table time, all this other kind of stuff. And yeah, they've gone to some events and they've won some events. Cool. I mean, look, we've had great turnout at Texas State, but we've also had, you know, some classes that only had 3 guys in it. And then when you run around saying, hey, I got third at Texas State and there was only 3 people in your class. I mean, I don't want to take anything away from you, but they didn't have a choice but to give you the medal. Like,
congratulations, you went 2-0 or 0-2 and got a medal.
Yeah, so it's like, you know, if you got 6 people in the class and you place third, okay, cool. You know,
here's your participation trophy.
You
I'm
know,
gonna
so
tell you, I've pulled a lot of women's events and I've got trophies that way, right? And I hate hanging those medals. The proudest moment, the proudest medal I think I've ever put on my display in my gym was at our TAL event when I pulled the amateur men's class and I took second. And I was more proud of those 2 medals than I think any medal that I've ever, and that's not to take away the level of pullers women that I've pulled, but like I've worked really, really hard to like be and I'm not I'm by far no shit about the sport. Like I'm still learning still, but that was the proudest I've ever put a medal on my wall because I had to really work for that second place medal. And it wasn't first, but I was proud of it.
Well, you pulled against a class, a filled out class. You know, I watched the tape. You did great.
It was exciting. Like it's like that moment I realized I was like, yeah, my hard work's paid off. Let's go see what else I can do.
Yeah. And that's unfortunate. I mean, the unfortunate side is that like for, you know, right now, the 2 ladies in Texas, you and Elizabeth, you have no choice either travel out and try to find some women or pull the men's classes, you know, and hopefully we've got you got some up and comers here in Texas that are working hard and hopefully they'll get to a point one day where they can pull with you guys. And, you know, as long as they keep working, they probably will. But, you know,
And Elizabeth
Yep.
proof a new person can do it, because I've been pulling a hell of a lot longer than Elizabeth, and she comes in and kicks my ass. Like, and she's put in the work. She's put in the time. Like, she is what, 2 year? God, I'm gonna say it wrong. Elizabeth, don't kill me. 2 years, maybe 2.5 years. Let's see. Our super match was in May of 2021, and she had just started. So, I mean, and she's like top level, like she's number one in North America now, and she's been in it longer than I have. So it's very doable.
Yeah.
I just wish we had more women that come up and put that kind of dedication towards it, because it's possible.
The truth
Yeah.
is, it's more possible now than ever. Because I only see
Lost you there for a minute, Matt.
Yeah, you're breaking up.
Yeah.
for world championship down there now, because of, as it gets popular, which hopefully it should. You know, there's going to be a lot more people participating in the sport. So be there at the foundation of it. You can be a legend.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. You know what just hit me? So, and I've thought about this before. So, you know what would help women grow in the sport? Women. Like, if we if we were actually as, and I feel that some are, as supportive as, if everyone was as supportive as everyone claims to be or shows to be on social media, then the sport of women would actually grow. It really would. And because, I mean, who wants to go? I don't. And I'm not getting into that. Because you go to a tournament, and yes, you get support, oh my God, support from your team, which are majority of men, but you're more likely to stick around if you feel that you belong with the women in the sport, because you're a woman. So the way that our sport will grow is if women actually support other women. That's how we'll grow.
To kind of add to that real quick is I talked to a handful of people, in the course of me being involved in arm wrestling and stuff like that. And, some have helped me tremendously, and, some tell me things and they go, look, you're crazy. And one of the things that one particular person has told me for a while is, you're crazy for giving the, like Texas State. We provide the $500 payouts for the women's classes.
Yeah.
I've been told that I'm crazy for doing that. And they should get the same awards as the men, but the same payouts, not until they represent and of course they're not going to represent in the same way, but relative to, that. And, there's something to that. But then he also says, he has also had conversations with women, and they ask these particular questions. And the one thing he asks them, he goes, well, who did you bring to the event?
Yeah.
Where's your friend that's also pulling the event? Like, what other girl did you try to bring to the event? What other girl did you bring to practice last week?
Yeah.
And you talk about support from other women. And yeah, I mean, look, there's only so much the men are going to be able to do.
Right.
And
yeah.
Well, Annie, you talk about support from other women, and we've had these conversations, and you and I are pretty straightforward with each other, right? So in defining support, would I be supporting you if I lied to you about where you fall? Like, if I was honest with you about, hey, maybe Annie, you're going to do great in this event. Really, you're really not a good fit for it. Is it supporting you if I lie to you?
In my opinion, no.
No. So I think, I don't know. Ever since I got the message, I kind of go back and I'm like, well, was I being a dick? Was I being, whatever for being straightforward? I don't feel I wasn't supportive. I feel I was supportive and being honest and realistic, and like
Yeah.
I don't know. I think people view the word support differently. Like sometimes being honest, nobody wants to hear that. And I'm just never going to be that person. I'm going to shoot you straight and I'm not going to tell you something that's not true.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about y'all, but we've been doing this about 2.5 hours already.
Oh, cool.
I
Doesn't
thought we
seem
were
like that long, has it? That doesn't seem
What
like
are
that
we
long.
doing?
No.
I thought we were going to
So,
midnight.
yeah, no, real quick. If you guys need to go, that's fine. I'll just kind of close things up. May 25th, our next event, the Southern Region Qualifier. Got a couple, got some cool things. It's gonna be a little bit different tournament. We've got a couple different sponsors coming out. We got a new sponsor that just came on board, and they're looking at doing multiple events. They're called TNT Premier Sports, and they hit me up, and it was a little bit interesting, and it really intrigued me, and I wanted to try to figure out how that might work with arm wrestling. But they do a lot of measuring impact of athletes. So they have like a square, what they call a power cube. And then so they'll have like a MMA fighter punch it or kick it. And they measure the amount of force that generates and how fast that kick was and stuff like that. Right. So they don't know yet, and we don't know yet how we're going to be able to flip that technology around and measure it on the arm wrestling table, but we're going to try. So we're going to try to do some really cool things with that. And that way, if you've ever wondered exactly how, I mean, we all know how much weight we're lifting, but in that moment of impact or, on the go, how much force are you actually generating? How fast are you? If we could use that technology of theirs.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
Should-
To measure arm wrestling.
Not only to measure arm wrestling, but to compare it against other athletes in other sports.
Exactly.
That will garner an intense amount of social engagement.
Yes. So they're going to come set up at our next event there here in San Antonio at Bombshells, and we're going to basically we're going to be the test dummies. We're going to be the guinea pigs. We're going to figure out. We're going to have a table set up for them. They're going to have their equipment, and we're going to mess around with it and figure out how we can spin this into arm wrestling and get these measurements that they're used to taking from impacts and everything like that.
Yeah, so, you just basically show how an arm wrestler is way stronger at that movement than a wide receiver, a running back, a wrestler, an MMA guy, a Muay Thai guy, a long jumper. You know what I'm saying? You put it against that, and you can do it for every single one of those instances in a separate video and get 1 million plus hits for each one.
You could measure it versus a swing in tennis too.
You just pit it against any popular professional athleticism out there, and it will get hits because you can tag it on that. And you can say how does an arm wrestler compare to a tennis player on a serve? How does an arm wrestler compare to a left hook from Floyd Mayweather? How does, you know what I mean? You can do it all and all that.
Oh, yeah.
It'll get a bunch of engagement that way.
Yeah.
So like we would be like, what is it? Is it Rocky IV? It'd be like Ivan Drago.
Yeah.
We'd be like, up.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. We just got to figure out how. We just got to figure out how to use that same thing and get it, get it to measure the arm wrestling movement right. But yeah, we're gonna explore that. I think it's gonna be really cool. And hey,
man, come on over here, man. I'm sorry. Don't listen to me. I'm hollering at the guy. I was thinking I'm gonna mute myself. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, so that's going to be really cool. That's going to be at the Southern. We're also going to have one of our good friends with the truck club here. He's got like a little DJ business, so he's going to come set up his speakers and during setup, afterwards at the after pull and the intermissions, he's going to be playing us some music. They're probably some of the truck club's going to be out there, so they're going to have their big jacked up 4-wheel drive trucks out there, on display. and stuff like that. Really cool. They got some really cool stuff. And then, so that's going to be really cool. That's coming up on May 25th here in San Antonio at Bombshells on Highway 151. So,
Yeah, speaking of bombshells, I can't wait till November with the one
Yeah.
coming to Lubbock. Oh man, that's gonna be fun.
so big shout out to Bombshells. They have Dustin had got in with them here in San Antonio, and we've been doing practices there for a while. And through that, we were able to make some connections with, some regional managers, some owners, some business VP manager, VP of business operations, and we're at a point now where Bombshells could be the venue for Texas Arm Wrestling League.
Official venue for Texas Arm Wrestling League.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Nice.
and
we tried Little Woodrow's and I tried here. They just didn't get back to me. They were excited about it. I mean, they've done
Yeah.
midget wrestling. They're like, why not arm wrestling? I said, yeah, why not? And just hadn't heard back. I'm like, well, we have bombshells coming. Why not? It's working everywhere else. It's the same venue, same setup. I mean, it makes it a lot easier, in that regard.
Yeah. And look, and I've had conversations with particular people, and we've had a handful that have expressed, I wouldn't say like, I don't know, they don't want to visit a
Careful
place.
with the words, Billy.
I know I'm trying to be careful. They don't want to attend a venue with that particular atmosphere. And while I understand that and I respect it, I don't understand it, but that's okay. Bombshells has been good to us, and as long as they're good to us, we're going to be good to them. So, unfortunately, if you can't just show up and arm wrestle and leave, we'll see you when we see you. But like I said, there's not very many places that will allow you to just walk in the doors, take over their establishment for the day, basically do whatever you want, and then it's just that's too far. You can't let go of that. And plus, they are a sponsor of the league. So
yeah, I say, and they sponsor you to do it. It's not just, oh, okay, well, I guess you can use our venue. No, we want your business. We will sponsor you to bring us more.
yeah. So
Yeah,
yep, that's another one.
Let's support you, just like we were talking
Exactly.
about support. I mean,
Well, and so much of what they have to offer us too, aside from the sponsorship and support that, but the things that you need in a good venue. They have good food. They have room.
good service. I'm telling you that Houston venue are the best service I've ever had at any restaurant.
It was better. It was better than we had before. Obviously it's going to vary with wait staff and stuff like that, and we are a particular weird crowd to try to wait on. There's so many people moving, a lot of people standing. So, it can be difficult. But when you have a waitress sitting next to you all day, Sarah, I would imagine you got pretty good service.
I did. I did. Hey, she was great. She was badass. She took care of me.
Yeah.
You have
Yeah.
They have good food, good, typically good service, and and good drinks.
Yep. But so yeah, TNT Premier Sports, Bombshells sponsors, another couple sponsors. Primo Chalk has been a sponsor of the Texas Arm Wrestling League for about 2 years now. They are actually Texas based, and they've been helping us out. It's the best chalk that I've ever used, at events and stuff like
Need
that.
some more chalk, by the way, Billy.
We can get some more chalk. Another one, Print Strong. Doesn't get enough publicity. Print Strong. If you're looking for tournament flyers, banners, anything like that, contact Dustin Laughlin.
Carolina Laughlin.
They can get you fixed up. If one of the things that we started to do is have a photographer at our events, and that will take high quality photos, and that my thought behind it was, if you get this really cool like action shot, that's a printable quality, that you could get this thing blown up. You put it in your garage, wherever you work out, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, people seem to be liking that pretty well.
I
We're gonna
love
keep,
your pictures. I think they're just great.
what's that?
I said I love the pictures. You guys
Yeah.
post your tournaments. I really do enjoy them.
Me too.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Hey, and
But
let us put them on a new table cover for you, or a banner or poster or something.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, that's the thing. If you get the right shot, it's printable quality. We can blow it up into 24 by 24. You can hang it on your wall.
That time you need a new table cover, Annie. Get you a good shot, table cover review.
Oh yeah, me.
One cool thing that I'm working on right now, and I don't know, I'm still like in the beginning stages of it, and that will incorporate some of our sponsors and hopefully some new sponsors. I've got some pretty cool leads in the works, and just kind of throwing it out there in the sense of Texas Arm Wrestling League sponsored athletes. So I'm
Nice.
trying to put together a package of sorts, and coming up with how the league could actually sponsor, a particular number of pullers every year, and hopefully these sponsors will jump on board with me and helping me do that. So I'm not sure if that's going to be next. If anything, I don't think it'll be in this year. It'll probably be next year. That if everything works out, I'll roll it out. But some really cool things in the works.
Sponsor? What do you mean sponsor? Like going to Worlds, going to Nationals? Like
we're gonna start small on I mean, I don't want to like overshoot our ability here, but one of these things that I'll just go ahead and say it. It's a controversial opinion, I'm sure, but I said it the other day, and I mean, I kind of stand by it in a sense, is that I don't know where Nationals is going, and I don't think it's on anybody's radar really. Like
maybe like East versus West event, or just a tournament that they're trying to go to. Like,
I think that there's things that people want to go to that are on like Nationals. It's just not a lot of I don't know. I just don't know if Nationals is going to be much of a thing, a few years down. If these types of promotions continue, Knuckles Up, East versus West, Arm Gods, all these things, and they continue to invite more and more people, a lot of your top caliber pullers, I think, are just they're gonna go for the cake. I'm not sure they're gonna worry about whether or not they're going to be in that, and that's not for everybody. Some people want to be a national champion, and that's a good thing. But for like here in Texas, we just don't have any of our top guys traveling to nationals. We had zero. We had 0 people travel to nationals this year. Our top pullers. So
sponsor the events that they're going to.
Yeah, I mean, that's my thing, is that if you're not going to go to nationals, that's cool, but if you're going to other things, then maybe we can find a way to support that. Yeah. So keep an eye out. Really cool things coming, I think.
So back on the other sponsors, are we still doing lion straps as well?
Yes, I hadn't gotten to that yet. Yep.
Oh, okay.
So lion straps is the official strap of Texas Arm Wrestling League.
We like those straps.
Oh yeah, I can't say enough good things about them. If you hadn't checked it out, if you wear a belt, they just came out with their belt. The second they put it on the website, I went and ordered one. It's a lion strap belt that you can double as a strap. So now you can, anywhere you go, the whole Devin Larratt thing, he pulls the strap out. Now you can have a lion strap belt.
That's awesome.
That'd be a big strap if I used one for a belt.
I'm not, I hate to, don't take this the wrong way, but I'm not sure that, because there's only one size. And I can tell you that I'm not going to say it's tight on me, but there's only a little bit left on the outside. So yeah, hopefully though, I mean, if it's a good seller, hopefully they'll make more sizes, But yeah, line straps definitely. They supported us. You know, every time I purchase straps for them for the league, they always support us with extra straps, and you know they've been really good to us as well. So we won't use anything other than line straps at our events.
Yeah,
Same thing with
I'm down to one of mine. I'll need another one at some point. So,
yep,
but
yep. Yep. And you know, Todd, you've got some sponsors coming up for already for Texas State.
yep,
You've been working on. So we got some
yeah,
really
we
good things.
the Lubbock sports side of economic development. I tell you what, they stepped up big time this year. Not only did they sponsor the event I did today, um, but they put $1,500 towards state.
Yeah.
I'm like, heck yeah. When you can get this, you know, basically the economic development board for your city to back the sport, I think we're making enough of a wave that it's getting the recognition, and I love their support. So,
Yep. And they've supported since day one. So
yep.
they've been return sponsors and everything like that. They help us get hotels and different things. And
Yep.
they've been really good to us.
And speaking of that, yeah, for state, we're going to have the same hotel again that we've had the last few years up in Lubbock. So
Now that's a badass hotel. I'm telling you,
yeah.
that's one of the nicest hotels. And yes, and I'm picky where I sleep. So Todd, you're doing a great job on that.
Yeah, well, we have a great relationship with Diana there, the sales lady, and she and that's one of the reasons we had to move the data state was because we wanted to be accommodating to folks coming in. Texas Tech had a lot of home games that were conflicting with dates that we wanted or that we were looking at, and it's like, okay, well, we landed on November 16th, and we're not at a Texas Tech home game. And we're not. Folks aren't going to have to pay the $215 a night. They're going to get that oversized room for $79. It's an extended stay suite. I mean, and it's 5 minutes from anything you want to do in Lubbock while you're here. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. Sorry.
Oh, there's our favorite puller in the back there, Billy.
Yes, I know. He's wanting to come on the Zoom.
Hey, Todd, tell us a little bit about your event today. How'd that go?
Okay, well, so we had 10 challenge matches. Let's see, 6 different pairings, but actually no, we had 11 matches. So yeah, 6 different pairings, 11 matches total. Most of them were clean sweeps, but we had some wars. Big shout out to everyone that came out there. It was bigger than I expected. We probably had about 100 people there. You know, um, the after pool, we had 5 tables. Everyone was just waiting. I could have had 10 tables there, and we would have still had folks, waiting to get on. But no, Texas Cafe was pretty accommodating for us. We tried a new area out in the bar, and it really worked for that kind of setup. But had a few ranking matches. Some were just challenge matches with a little money on the line, but some ranks changed hands. Some people made some money, and we all had a really good time.
How many matches did you have?
We had 11.
11.
Yep. So we had let's
Yeah.
see, Orlando Martinez and Alfonso Calderon, left hand and right hand. Josh Clayton versus Cody Kelly, right hand and left hand. Jose Garcia versus Adam Gonzalez. Then we had Frank Callahan versus Josh Hoover, right-handed and left-handed. Jeremy Woodard and Jacob Hernandez, right and left-handed. Now that one was left-handed. We had a war. Right hand, not so much. But I was really impressed with those two. And then we had Rodney Gregg and David Horniak come in from. David came in from Colorado for the match, and they were both just at the Super 64 series as well. So we had 3 pullers there from the Super 64 that came to the event today. and you know, it was fun. I mean, the energy in that room was pretty good, and then the after pool was just spectacular. So
One thing
Awesome.
too, state I'm looking forward to and have been, kind of working on over this last year, the Hall of Fame inductions, which we haven't announced yet, but that should be another good thing too. We'll have some more Hall of Fame, or excuse me, Texas Arm Wrestling Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
So,
Well, all right, everybody. Unless somebody's got something else, I think we can wrap it on up. It's been about almost 3 hours, so
I'm good.
No, I think that's good, Billy. I think we got a good chat in.
how much hate mail you think we're gonna get?
Oh, I don't know. I'll let you know when my inbox blows up again. I'll post it on social media. I don't give a damn. But I just wish people would actually like message me from their actual account instead of creating a fake account. I'm just gonna throw that out there. Like,
Well, I'll let you know if I get any. If not, then that means I need to crank it up just a little bit more.
piss more people off.
I didn't even realize I might be inviting some myself. I just wore an East versus West T-shirt. I'm right in the middle. Didn't even realize.
Yeah. You're pro band.
Poking the bear there, man. No.
Yes.
Is that
All right, everybody.
Lucid?
Yeah. Y'all have a good night.